people downstairs who would like to come in at some point tonight. Thank you for being here tonight. Today is March the 16th, 2021. Our thought for today is kind words can be short and easy to speak, but their echoes are truly endless. That's by Mother Teresa. It is approximately 7 o'clock. I want to go ahead and officially call this meeting to order. Tonight we're going to ask if Commissioner Mason, if he would lead us in our pledge and, in our prayer, and we're going to ask Commissioner Edwards if he would lead us in our pledge.
Let us all pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us back to this place at the appointed time. God, we ask that as we continue to move forward in doing the county business, that we will seek your face and seek your kingdom and your righteousness. And we know that as unity comes together, all things will come together on our behalf. And so we thank you for all that you've done here in Newton County. We thank you for all that you are about to do. We ask that you touch every single citizen in this county. We even ask that you touch every single leader that you have set forth to help lead and guide this county into the direction that you would have it to go. We'll be forever grateful and thankful, and we give you all the kingdom honor and glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Commissioners, you had an opportunity to look at the agenda tonight. I seek a motion that we approve the agenda.
Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. All in favor? It passes 4-0. Thank you. Next is item number 5, citizens' comments. This is an opportunity that we allow citizens to come up and make comments about agenda topics only. Agenda topics only. You have 3 minutes to do so. Please come up and state your name and your address for the record, please. Yes, ma'am. Please state your name and your address for the record, please.
Yes, Susan Jackson, 110 Wisteria Boulevard. Okay? Commissioners, I am in opposition to the proposed rezoning of the 24.69 acres from single-family residential to multifamily residential for the purpose of building 120 townhomes. Many residents in District 3 are adamantly opposed to any addition of multifamily housing or any housing. This will cause increased traffic. Traffic and safety of pedestrians are major areas of concern. There has not been proper investment in District 3's infrastructure. It has been abysmal. Furthermore, there are many subdivisions and roads in Newton County that have not been paved in 18 to 20 years. This will also put pressure on our Public Works Department and Code Enforcement Department. Our county has a drastic issue with litter. Our county has a severe problem with the maintenance of its curbs and drainages already, not to mention the pressure on our already strained school system. Our classes are already crowded, in addition to our teacher shortages. We are on the bottom list of our test results, our literacy, and graduation rates. And furthermore, the developers and contractors that you are allowing in our county, they are building homes of low quality material. Not only are they building with low quality materials, some of these contractors are even banned in other counties. But you are allowing these developers to come and home inspectors to come, in my opinion, are incompetent. And finally, I have some questions to the commissioners, okay? You place citizens on a board to represent the community, but yet you take the power from us. What other county does that? I don't know of a one. And one other question I have for each and every commissioner here. If developers are required to pay up to $3,800 per home that's built in our district, where's the money going? Why isn't it spent in our district? Can you answer that question? Can any of you answer that question? And one final question. Where is District 3's SPLOST money?
Thank you. Anyone next, please?
Good evening, Board of Commissioners. My name is Sandra Hines, and I reside in Newton County, and my property will be directly impacted by the zoning. But I done found out that it's not going to be a rezoning, that he withdrew his rezoning application and wants to put 50 homes there. We already have 311 apartments that's trying to come behind the dealership. Now he wants to put 50 homes on that corner. It's going to still impact our property values because, of course, they're going to use low grade. Do we know what the price point is of these homes? Do we know how they're going to be built? Most of these developers are banned from other counties because of their low quality of building. Also, we already know that there's a lot of traffic over there. It's inundated with traffic. The schools will be, they're overcrowded already. Our fire, our police. With apartment complexes, there's crime. All they're gonna do, build, sell, build, sell. That's it. Are these single family homes that he's trying to put, those 50, are they gonna be owner occupied or tenant? These are the questions that I'm asking you guys. Were all of these questions answered? Were the builder, what did he say? All of a sudden, because he needs that second entrance to that 311 apartment complex. It's not fair to us. We keep on getting things. I'm paying my taxes to Newton County. And those taxes is paying y'all salary. It's time for y'all to stand up for us. Because other than that, it's gonna be some problems. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good afternoon, County Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
I vote no. My name is Broderick L. Johnson, Sr. I live 35 Peaceful Path Court, Covington, Georgia. I am a resident of Newton County. My concern tonight is for rezoning, as you know. Piggybacking off of two ladies that just come up, I want to reiterate the same thing, but I'm not going to waste no more time. What value, other than the sale of homes, are the people who's trying to build a home going to add to the community? Only thing they're receiving is finance. But what are we going to receive? What are the people of the community is going to get from these new homes? Are we getting anything value for our schools, our roads, or the other surrounding properties? Who's making money off of this? Because somebody is making money off of this. Like right now, we don't seem like many. It's just a few of us coming in here, standing up, trying to support our community. But we do vote. And we vote. We do not just have to select a person in our section. We can vote outside our section and remove you from office. So please, please, this is not a threat. I'm just saying, think about what you're doing. Stop hurting our community. You act like you want to put everything in the black community. Have you been up I-20 and seen all that open space up there? Let's try and utilize some of that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. How are y'all doing tonight? My name is Raymond Redding, and I live at 3091 Fairview Road, Covington, Georgia. So I live on Fairview, right at the exit before Jack Neely and Fairview School. And if any of you have ever driven down Fairview Road, you can tell the infrastructure is not there to support sidewalks or additional driveways. Now, I have a picture of what it looks like coming off the freeway onto Almond Road. And you want to add more houses to that traffic, 500 plus houses. If you add an additional 200 cars driving down that road, the backup is going to be immense. This picture shows a 40-minute backup from the freeway to Almond Road. Adding 5 to 10 more cars coming down Fairview, continuing straight, or Almond Road, is going to add such a tremendous time delay on people leaving home and getting home. So I'm here to ask you not to allow this to be built. Our schools are crowded, the sewage, the roads, the infrastructure is not there to support more homes. So I'm asking you, when you come drive down Fairview and you're stuck in traffic for 30 and 40 minutes, how would you enjoy it? I don't. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Please state your name, your address for the record, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Lillian Wells. I live in 240 Winchester Drive in Winchester Park subdivision, right off of Fairview Road, right in front of the school. I am here to oppose the rezoning of that area because of the fact, okay, first of all, Fairview Road, that curve there is very dangerous. And they are proposing to build the complex right there at that curve. I have already been run off the road in that curve. There's already been 5 deaths that have come around that curve and hit trees going around that same curve. The traffic is already bad there, and when you're trying to turn out of the subdivision, somebody comes around that curve so fast, you don't know whether you're going to get hit from behind when you come out of the subdivision. It is increasingly bad in the area, and to put more townhouses and rentals at that will impact the schools, will impact the area, and the fact that you're trying to get out at the street at the end of the road, there is no traffic light there, so when you're trying to turn left or whatever, the traffic backs up considerably. So I, myself, oppose them to rezone that area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
My name is Alicia Brown, and I live at 25 Rockwood Court, Covington, Georgia. I'm here to let you know that I'm in opposition of the rezoning. I'm speaking from a perspective of trash and other issues. Number one, we have so much trash on the streets that we as a county cannot keep up with it as it is. The streets are overrun with trash. Most communities are constantly complaining about it, and every one of you know about it. Newton County has not come up with a fix for the current problem that we face. We have simply put Band-Aids on the problems. We have simply implemented a workaround instead of a fix for these problems. There are several roads and subdivisions that have not been paved in 18 to 20 years. Yet others have been paved 2 to 3 times unnecessarily. Newton County is allowing developers and contractors to build using cheap materials, producing cheaply built homes. There's also, they're not up to code also. There are so many people complaining about that, it's ridiculous. Things they don't finish, things they promise, they don't go back and fix. You know, it's horrendous. And then they're locked into buying a home and can't go back and get the problem resolved. They have to end up absorbing it and paying for it themselves. I have a question for you. Districts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, commissioners. Would you like this done in your community? Would you like this done in your backyard, next to you? Also, how is the splash money benefiting District 3? How is it benefiting us? We don't have playgrounds. We don't have a community center. We don't have a lot of things. So I'm here to ask you to vote and support us on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brendan Cherry. I live at 30 Glen Isle Drive, Covington, Georgia 30016. And I'll break it up for you a little bit. I don't want to speak in opposition to the rezoning necessarily. I want to speak in opposition to the resolution concerning HB 218 that's on the agenda for this evening. And I just want to state that I oppose this resolution. As far as I'm aware, there are currently no residency restrictions placed on obtaining a driver's license or a marriage license outside of the county that you live in. And I don't think that weapons permit should be any different. Also, concerning that resolution, it's stated in there that it would affect the COVID protocol and social distancing practices. But, you know, COVID is not a permanent issue, whereas the Second Amendment is a right that is fundamentally protected under the Constitution, whereas our right to have 6 feet between us and an individual is not expressed or guaranteed in that. Also, concerning some of the undue pressure and financial strain in there, I just had a couple questions I hope you'll be able to answer when you do discuss that later on. How many probate clerks do we currently employ? What is our current operating capacity for processing those permits? How many can we do a month? How many can we do a year? How many are we currently processing each month? How many are we currently processing annually? And then also, what amount of increased permits would create that undue pressure that was stated? What's the threshold? Is it 100, 200, 1,000? What is that number? I'm sure you've already looked into that and figured that out, so it should be an easy one. Also, what are the current costs to process a weapons permit? Concerning the budget, are we operating in a deficit? If we are, how long have we been operating in a deficit? If we're operating in a surplus, have we ever had that happen? And then also, I'd just like to know the data that we've received and looked into that has stated that there's going to be an increased projection that will be beyond our ability to control. And just in closing, I think that really the resolution that Newton County should be putting forth is that we're going to resolve to do whatever is necessary to accommodate and uphold the right to the citizens of the county and to the state of Georgia to keep and to bear their arms that's guaranteed to us in the Constitution.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Hello, good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name is Maretta Najjar, and I reside at 10 Fair Ridge Court. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you speak up, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm Maretta Najjar. I reside at 10 Fair Ridge Court, and I am here to oppose the rezoning. Like many of my neighbors have stated, the roads do not have the ability to carry this many new people. The traffic here is so horrific. My husband and I moved to Covington from Snellville about a year ago, and I have already been in an accident just down the road from the dealership that herniated 2 discs in my back. So this is sort of a, personal thing to me because I have been affected by the traffic in Covington. My car was totaled, freeway right there, that's gonna be flooded with people. From Salem, it's gonna be flooded with people. We don't need more townhomes or apartments. We don't need that. We need infrastructure. We need this to be a good community for children to have good educations. The schools are already overcrowded. I spent several years as a substitute teacher. I have worked in school systems in Gwinnett. I know what overcrowding does. I have seen children fall behind and suffer because of this. And excuse me if I sound a little nervous. I haven't been around people in a very long time. So, just to say, I do oppose this. And you guys need to do what's right for the citizens in this area. You need to do what's right for the children. You need to do what's right for all of the people who live here. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Guys, we're going to ask you to put your mask on. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Good evening.
I'm here as a concerned citizen to oppose the rezoning as well. I'm not a politician. I'm not going to try to be a politician. I'm just a regular, concerned citizen that's been here for 15 years. My children have come through Newton County, 2 in college. I got one that's a sophomore. When I moved here, my son was in a trailer. And I believe if we have more and more people moving in here, apartments, cheap condos, so on and so forth, we already heard the other citizens talk about the burden that it's going to put on the school systems, the infrastructure, but I want to just talk about crime. My background is in education and public health, and I'm a federal law enforcement officer. So crime is my forte. I hate to say it, but it is. When you start seeing trash, and when you start seeing traffic, and you start seeing people just slapped in like sardines in a 5 square mile area. Before I moved here, I lived in major metro cities. DC, first of all, I live at 310 Wisteria Boulevard, I'm sorry. I have a residence there. I have another residence at Silver Farms, and I brought my mother a house in Fairview Estates. She retired from the Department of Defense. I moved her down here in 2017, and I'm starting to think it was a mistake to do that. She lives off that hairpin curve that people were talking about. As a 70-year-old woman getting bullied from traffic. The young lady just mentioned she was in an accident, countless other accidents. Have a home on Browns Bridge. They're drag stripping up and down there. You can barely get out of there. Jack Neely, they're doing the same thing. Kirkland and Fairview, the exact same thing. My last son's 16 years old. I'm more fearful of him driving in this 5 square block area than I am him in DC, Miami, New York, Newark, New Jersey, or Birmingham. It's crazy. We moved down here to retire, peace and quiet, raise the family life. But how do you have 5 square mile area and you have no infrastructure? Trash everywhere. No parks and recreation. We're just fortunate enough to be able to put our kids in activities that cost. But what about the other children and the other people who might not be as fortunate? No sidewalks. You're starting to see people walking up down the streets. They're going to get hit. That's going to cause problems. And no disrespect to the law enforcement in here, but I see more DeKalb County, my neighbors who are DeKalb County police officers, and see their vehicles than I see Newton County. Like I said, I'm not a politician. I'm just a regular concerned citizen. And I'm not a selfish man because my kids are done. Just like I said, 2 more years of high school and they're done. I can go anywhere I want to. But I got my mother down here and I have 3 properties. I care about the youth. I care about my fellow citizens. And I care about you guys too. And we're all in this together. So politics aside, safety's first. Thank you for your time.
Can I get you to state your name, please?
Clement Sanders.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir. Guys, we got enough time for one more. And then we got zoning we got to get to.
I'm Desiree Williams. I'm at 25 Carmen Court. I am a District 4 resident and homeowner in the county. So I'm just here in support of District 3. It's amazing that, you know, we've got all the districts within the county, but again, we're all one Newton, all right, and that's what we stand for. My parents own multiple homes in District 3, and I also am against the rezoning. Currently, just in my neighborhood in District 4, there's rezoning going on. They're building 172 townhomes. The infrastructure is also dilapidated in my area. We're having accidents at Jackson Highway frequently at the intersection of that and the highway bypass. So I think it is just an all-around concern for everyone in Newton County. I'm totally for our focus on developing the business and the commerce of our county, bringing in companies like Facebook. But I do think that we need to look outside of District 3 and District 4 as the place to build all of the multi-use units. District 2, District 1, those are also capable areas in the social circle area that can also house additional housing and take off the additional constraints on our local communities and spread it throughout all of Newton so that we really are one Newton.
Good evening, Commissioners. How you doing?
Good evening, sir.
My name is Johnny Banks. I am the president. My name is Johnny Banks. I'm the president of the Silver Ridge Farms Homeowners Association. You've heard a lot of concerned citizens tonight. This rezoning is certainly in my backyard. There is no infrastructure there. Kids and people will be, if you put apartments, you put even houses, any more people, they're just going to be walking the streets, walking through our subdivision, trying to get to their homes or wherever it's at. The concern is the infrastructure. The concern is the trees that are there. Where's the water runoff going to go? I mean, that's going to be very important. You know, there's the Yellow River there. Where's all that water going to go with all those trees being cut down? I don't care about a developer coming in and putting up small trees to replace it. All right, we like our tall trees. We like our habitat that's there. All right, we're concerned with the schools. All right, there's kids that do walk the street. There's no sidewalks there. There's nothing in that corridor. We are asking you, please, please, stop bringing in developers into our district. We don't want it anymore. And really, anywhere in our district. We got concerns with the Lytle warehouse. We got concerns with this other warehouse that they want to rezone now. It's really getting out of control. Our citizens are not going to take it. There's 60,000 of us in this district. All right, it's important, it's very important that you hear us, understand what we're looking for, what we need, our kids, parks. We need to know where the splash money is going. We need to know why we're not receiving that. It's important to know that whatever is due District 3 should be due District 3. Please, just listen to us. We're here. We're not going anywhere. We're going to come back, and this 50 homes that he's looking to now rezone or not rezone, we don't want that either. All right? We want that property to stay just the way it is, unless you want to make it a nature trail for people to come and walk and enjoy the habitat.
Thank you, sir.
That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. You got it.
What's his name? Michael Kennedy. Is Michael Kennedy in the office tonight? I mean, in the room tonight? Thank you, sir. Okay. Guys, give me 1 second. Thank you. It's approximately 7:31. It's time for our public hearing tonight. Ms. Shana? Okay. I'm going to ask Ms. Shana if you would please come up tonight. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners, members of the board. We have 3 zoning cases this evening. The first case is a flume, case number FLU 21-00001. The existing land use map, flume is a future land use map. The existing land use map is industrial. They're proposing to go to HDR, which is high density residential. The existing zoning is currently M2 or heavy industrial. It is located in District 4, and it's on Georgia Highway and City Pond Road. The tax ID and parcel numbers are 79-2A, 79B-7, 6, 6A, 58, and 79B-5. Total acreage is approximately 35 acres, and we have several owners, William and Geneva Derryfield, and the address 11133 City Pond, that's actually a company, 11133 City Pond LLC, Raul and Yvonne Perua, David and Valerie Payne, and Michael and Velma Ann Taylor. And the petitioners tonight, we have 2, Michael Kennedy and Jim Chapman Communities. On February 23rd, 2021, the Planning Commission heard the petition for the rezoning request, and after the public hearing, motion to recommend approval with staff's conditions by a vote of 3-2. And the applicant's intent, as we mentioned earlier, is to change the future land use to HDR, which is high-density residential, in order to seek a rezoning to RMF, multifamily residential, to establish townhomes. And the character area is found in the Flint Hill character area, which is largely rural. And it's a rural community tied closely by preservation, recreation, and conservation of the Lake Varna Reservoir. And appropriate uses are agriculture, residential, parks and recreation, conservation. Conclusion. The parcels are zoned M2 heavy industrial and are currently developed with existing homes located on them. The applicant is proposing to combine the parcels and seek a rezoning to establish townhomes for a total of 227 units. The parcels are in proximity to residentially zoned parcels, a senior citizen home, church, a school, and a movie studio. Pursuant to the Flint Hill appropriate land uses, residential development is appropriate for this request. A future land use map amendment would not have any recommended conditions of zoning due to the type of petition that it is. So this is just the aerial view of where it is located. All the parcels are marked with the yellow diamond. We have a zoning map. Right now it's currently M2, and you have the surrounding residential and industrial zonings from the city. This is a future land use map that we're looking at today. It has our residential future land use also slated there, as well as some industrial. This is just a concept of what they're proposing. And the future land use map is a planning tool that sets the stage for zoning to be sought. There are no recommendations under the future land use. If approved, it would allow the applicant to apply for a rezoning where there would be conditions at that time. If denied, it would allow the property to develop as heavy industrial only, which is the most intense use allowed under our ordinance. And that is it from staff, and I believe the applicant is here.
Thank you. We're going to open it up now for our public hearing. The applicant and those that want to speak in favor, you may come tonight. You have 10 minutes. If you want to come tonight, sir, you have 10 minutes to do so. Please state your name and your address for the record, please.
Trying to kill me. Just kidding. Good evening. I wanted to wave to you quickly. I lied. I'm not Michael Kennedy. Michael works for me. I'm Jim Chapman of Jim Chapman Communities. Michael made the presentation when I was indisposed to the Planning Commission several weeks ago, so I wanted to appear in front of you in person today. This is a quick package of what we're proposing, folks. You guys just saw the meat of it, but I'll go through it quickly. This is a build-to-rent community. We are not seeking, we will rent the community, so there's no bait and switch here. We call it the Cottages at Studio Village, 35 acres, proposed 227 units. You're all familiar with the location in your District 3. This is our initial site plan. I would just call your attention to the bottom right corner of the green area of the site plan where you see a bit of a black finger coming across the road. That's a depiction of what we'd hope to be some sort of a crosswalk, an easy access for Studio Village. You see Studio Villages would be to the bottom of us, over to the left if they expand, and diagonally opposite of our bottom right corner, which would have sidewalks, et cetera. An overview of the cottages, it's 35 acres. We discussed 227 units. We seek to put our communities in areas where there's at least 50,000 people. This has 154,000 in this primary market area. The median income is very strong at 59,000. The two-bedroom rents would start in the $1,500 to $1,600 range. Three-bedroom rents in the $1,900 to $2,000 range. The unit mix would be 70% two bedrooms, 30% three bedrooms. We will have some families, but we tend to primarily rent to singles. We have primarily single ladies that live with us, and you'll see some of what we're building in a second and why that's so appealing, as well as over half of our communities are typically active adult and senior occupied. They're all master on main, so it's what I call an age-targeted, not age-restricted, but age-targeted community to those who don't want to climb stairs. The amenities, it would have a pool, a 4,000 square foot clubhouse. It would have on-site leasing and management. I heard a lot about trash tonight. I hate litter with a passion. We would have 2 maintenance men on site that one of the first goals of their morning is to go around in a golf cart and pick up any trash, oddly enough. We also have a fitness center, a dog park, and we wish to gate the community so it would have, all the roads would be private. I did a little digging and reading in your Newton County Comprehensive Plan. This is a map you're very well familiar with. We're in the Flint Hill area. Kind of hard for me to read, but one of the appropriate land uses is residential and is not heavy industrial, oddly enough. This again is a little hard for me to read, but weaknesses of the area: shortage of smaller sized homes, 1,200 to 1,400 square feet to accommodate younger families, millennials, and retirees who either can't afford larger homes or don't want the maintenance. Again, these homes are maintenance free because you rent, we take care of everything, and our units are 1,000 to 1,400 square feet. Also, you say threats or millennial generation are not able to afford homes, serious shortage of smaller starter homes, older generation retirees want to downsize, no home options, reduce required square footage. That's exactly what I'm proposing. These are a number of letters from different businesses that you all have done an amazingly great job of attracting to your great county, and they all ask you and implore you to attempt to get more and better housing into this market. This is some shameless self-promotion of yours truly, my resume, my background. Been Builder of the Year 3 times. I'm currently president of the Home Builders Association of Georgia, and I was president of the Greater Atlanta Home Builders Association in 2018. I care about what I do. You can search the internet. You won't find anything about me not doing what I'm supposed to do. Some of our awards, some basic facts about the build-to-rent communities and the economics of build-to-rent communities and why what I'm proposing here is so strong for your community. Again, these are the look of the units. They're all ranch style. We have at least 2 bedrooms and 2 baths on the main, and in some cases, we have a staircase up for a 3rd bedroom and bath. Their active adult and seniors are our target, as well as what I call high-level workforce. You have done an amazing job in your county of attracting Facebook, Tecate, other places that have incredibly high-paying jobs, and this is the type of community that they would seek. They don't want to live in an apartment. They want to live in a house, and they want to rent it because they don't want to maintain it. They want us to maintain it. The first one of these deals I did was in Athens. It's currently 92% leased. Those are some pictures of it, and you can, of course, read that in your own time. Those are the rents we've been achieving. They're identical to what we propose here. Interesting demographics. Again, our average occupants per unit, 1.82. We do not attract a lot of families. Our average age is 42. Typical apartment is 25. We're 42. The average income is staggering. We underwrite to 62,000. The average income's over 100,000. These are some of the gated entries, clubhouses, pictures of units, interiors, and floor plans. So I'll stop there, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Sit down.
I'm sorry.
Sit down.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
please. Would anyone else would like to speak in favor tonight? Anyone else would like to speak in favor tonight? That portion of our public hearing is closed. We also allow 10 minutes for those that want to oppose tonight. You may come at this time, state your name and your address for the record, please. You also have 10 minutes to do so. So the way it works, guys, so we make sure all of us on the same page. It's a total of 10 minutes for everybody. Okay, all right. You
So
wanna-
I'm Sashita Cook.
Can't hear you.
I'm Sashita Cook.
Okay.
And
You can bring it, you can pull the mic down. There you go. There you go.
I'm Sashita Cook, and I live in Newton County. I stay in Wisteria Boulevard at 140 Wisteria Boulevard in Covington, Georgia. And basically, I'm here to talk about the rezoning. I did hear the young man back there stated that, you know, with his, I'm sorry, he did state that, you know, they will keep the community clean and upkept and things like that. I just feel like, you know, they say that in the beginning, but 5 years, 10 years down the line, it start looking, you know, nasty, dirty, and things like that. Now, I do have a son here with me today, and I'm also pregnant with another child. I send my son up the road to basically a private school because in my district, the school system, you know, the scores are low, and I don't want to send my son to a school like that. Not only that, I always have to drive him up the road to, you know, go to like events and things like that, like to the zoo or, you know, to Six Flags or the aquarium and things like that, because there's nothing for him to do down here. I'd rather, you know, me to do that or at least get something out here for us, for our kids, because I don't want him to be another statistic or anything like that. I want the best education for him. When I used to live out here a long time ago, and I grew up out here, and, you know, I graduated from Newton County High School. Back then, the school was good and everything, it was peaceful and it was nice. I actually told my husband, let's move back to Newton County because it's a good area to raise your family and things like that. So then we came out here thinking that it was going to be better, but come to find out the crime rate has went up. And not only that, it's nothing for, you know, us to do out here. We always have to drive up the road and things like that. And I just feel like I shouldn't have to do that, especially if I'm paying my tax dollars here and I have a home here. I don't feel like we should have to continue to drive up the road for my child to do something or send him to a private school up the road in Gwinnett because of the fact that the school system out here is below the standards of, you know, the test scores. So I feel like the rezoning and all that, they say they're going to do this, they say they're going to do that, but then when the time comes, they'll put it up, it'll look nice for 1 or 2 years, but after that, it'll start looking, you know, dirty and, you know, not upkept and things like that, like the other community around us has looked. So thank you, sorry.
Thank you.
My name is Susan Jackson. I live at 110 Wisteria Boulevard. I say no to the rezoning. One of the issues that this gentleman brought up, he began to mention millennials. Millennials like to shop. They like Whole Foods. They like different retail stores. There are no stores here to shop. Number two, he mentioned the elderly. There's no sidewalks. There's no infrastructure. The crime will increase. And then another thing that he mentioned was the medium income. Do you know anyone who makes six figures who likes to live in filth, who likes to see litter? I have called on multiple occasions to get litter picked up. I've called on multiple occasions to clean curbs in the drainages. Do you think someone who makes six figures wants to drive out of their home and see trash? Yeah, that little particular place may be maintained, but when you go and drive through your county, you want to see beauty. You want to see people with six-figure incomes don't come to Newton County. They go to Avondale Estates. They go to the city of Decatur. They go to Gwinnett County. You know why? Because it's pretty. It's well taken care of. Mr. Edwards, Mr. Mason, everyone here. That's why they go. What he's trying to attract, no one's going to, they're not coming. They're not coming.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
And again, I want to oppose the rezoning, but I want to state that the gentleman that's trying to get the rezoning approved, he doesn't have an interest only but finance here. It's all about money for him, but we live here. So I say no.
Anyone else? Sir, can you give me your name one more time, please? And your address? Well, he needed, Commissioner Henderson wanted his address.
Okay, I apologize. My name is Broderick L. Johnson, Senior, 35 Pittsburgh Paths Court, Covington, Georgia, 30016.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tammy Brotniks. I live at 10 Glen Owl Drive, Covington, Georgia, 30016. I am concerned about the rezoning that's going on throughout Newton County, not only what's presently being presented here tonight, but everything that has happened here. I've been in Newton County for 13 years. I have a college student that graduated from Newton High School. The purpose of me moving here in Newton County was Newton County offered me the opportunity to give my daughter a better education. Now, school systems now in Newton County have not stood up to other surrounding counties. The things that we're experiencing in our communities is due to overcrowdedness. We have 3 high schools in this county, and where they're proposing to put these homes is one high school that's already over 2,500 students, middle schools that's close to 1,200 students. The elementary schools, there's 2 that's facing close to 1,000 each. We're overcrowding and our students and the teachers. These teachers are tired, they're weary. Children are are not being the focus as it relates to us rezoning and putting in families in our communities. These kids are lacking the experience that they need to become productive citizens, because a teacher cannot properly educate a classroom full of 20 to 30 students. There's disruptions, there's all types of things that's going on in the classroom that has nothing to do with the focus that we're sending our children to. Just like this parent, my last child is being educated outside of public school. Everyone cannot afford that. Everyone cannot do that. I have 2 children that are in Alcovy, and then I have a child that's in the middle school. Those 2 children, the only reason they're still there is because that my children, and I have worked with my children to be productive when they go to school. My children are in the top 10% of their classes. My daughter that went to Newton High graduated at the top 6% of her class. But that's me. If we bring in what's being proposed here, there's a lot of children that will be then brought into a already overcapacitated schools. And we can't have that. Our children do not have anything to do in our communities. These children are breaking in to communities. These children have nothing to do, so therefore they're committing crime. We're not talking about the crime that comes along with this. There's paper everywhere in our community now. The curb appeal to Covington is horrible. It's horrible. I live off Smith Store. It's horrible. I've been there 5 years, and the amount of trash that goes along and comes along because people are dumping. They don't care. Everyone don't care. But you all have a responsibility to the citizens that have voted you in. And I want you guys to begin to take responsibility for what we have given you the opportunity to. Search your hearts. Do what's right. You've been placed here for a reason. You've been given an opportunity to serve the community. Serve us. Do what's right. If you go down I-20, this is not happening. And then we're talking about the curve that's on Fairview and Jack Neely. We have two elderly women both on each end. That one has been there close to 50 years, another close to 25 years. And you all are talking about taking the builders, or the developers are talking about taking their properties, not giving them what's right for what they are trying to take to cause the infrastructure to take place. It's just a lot of unfairness going on. And I don't want, it's unfair that these elderly women are having to come down here and fight and, at this age and point where they should be loving and living and gardening in the community. Why mess with them at such an age? And it's dangerous at Kirkland and Fairview. That's a dangerous spot. A car just caught on fire last year. We know this. Let's take some responsibility, and do you all want this in your community? If so, why isn't it not happening? If it's a favorable situation, why is it not favorably happening on the other side of Covington? I cannot continue to see this and not voice my opinion on it. It's upsetting, but I believe you all will do the right thing. I trust you will.
Thank you, ma'am. Guys, you got like 32 seconds to make your comments, 33 seconds to make your comments, and then we got to revert back to the applicant because I think he had like 3 minutes left to rebuttal.
Yeah, hey, my name is Cameron Johnson, address 140 Wisteria Boulevard, Covington, Georgia, 30016. I pretty much want to piggyback what everyone else is saying about the whole being against the rezoning. I mean, you have more dead deers on the road than you do anything else. So before you start thinking about bringing new properties to somewhere, they don't care about the money. They just want to be able to say, they care about the money. They just want to be able to say, oh, I have a property over here. I got a property over here. But think about all the deers that and everything. We're going to work. You have dead deers on the from one side of the street to the other. The buzzers get to it before anybody else get to it. Come on, open up your eyes and see what's around you. Stop thinking about the money and think about the people for once.
Thank you, sir. Guys, we please hold your applause, please, and please hold the outburst as well. Sir, you have about how much time is it? You have 3 minutes and 36 seconds to rebuttal, please.
Thank you, Jim Chapman, again, the applicant. While I don't doubt what the people say to some degree is true in their experiences, I've spent a great deal of time in your county driving around. I don't see the trash even today driving around that they're alluding to. The incomes, I'm sorry, our community will attract those types of incomes. It may be 98, it might not be 108, but it will not be low income and it will not be Section 8. We have successfully zoned in other municipalities who are excited about our product. City of Hampton in Henry County. The mayor and 2 commissioners came to my project in Athens and toured it with me for 2 hours. Love what they saw. We're excited to have it in their community, et cetera. City of Canton and several others. The first one we did is in Athens, Clarke County, which if you know about Athens, Clarke County, I'm not going to comment on your schools, but Athens, Clarke County schools are the pits. Our community leased up extremely strong. Frankly, our units are not big enough to attract many families. We had 7% of our units had school-age children. I would think it would most likely be the same here. So those are just some of the facts, not disputing theirs, but those are some of ours. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Henderson.
Well, first of all, for the ones who came out in District 4 to talk about this particular rezoning, I appreciate it. I appreciate the telephone calls that I got. In fact, I was so concerned that I went over and I went from door to door and talked to as many of the property owners who would be affected by this zoning in District 4. And believe it or not, most of the ones that I spoke with said they will welcome the purchase of their properties and for these types of housing. I got calls from people who live, like Mr. Cook, who lived over there. He called me and he said, if you do anything for your district, would you look at supporting this zoning? Pastor Payne called me on my phone, and he said the same thing. Miss Houston, I called her. She was an elder lady who lived in the community down from who would be affected. She called me and she encouraged me to try to support this zoning. And I understand how we feel, and I know that Newton County is beautiful because I've been here my whole life. In most of these areas, hey, I walked and had friends, and we talked, and in fact, Afra and I, we ran for this same district seat. But over the years, Deacon Cook, we came together but make a long story short, now I'm gonna go through all of this. I personally think for District 4, this is a good project. I know that we did, our Facebook and Beck Salter and stuff, and those people are looking for homes. Even though I don't agree with the fact that most of those people don't live around here, and the bigger company don't give enough as far as helping us in our communities. But I feel that hopefully in the future that there will be something that will change. So I guess the first motion would be, okay. Well, Mr. Chairman, I can make a motion to approve this project.
Thank you, sir. With conditions, I'm sorry, what conditions?
Absolutely,
No
with the recommended condition of the planning department.
Okay. Can I get a second, please?
I'll second it for the purpose of the discussion, but I want to make clear, this is not a rezoning. This is a future land use map amendment. It's not a rezoning. It's just to change the future land use map from a heavy industrial district to a residential area, which there's already a residential component next door to this project.
So
already.
Let me get that to discussion, and then you can make a
Okay.
point. All right. So it's been it's motion by Commissioner Henderson, the second by Commissioner Cowan. Now, any discussion? You gonna let him finish first? Go ahead, Commissioner. Go ahead.
Oh. The motion was to approve the.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
Wait a minute, sir. Sir, wait a minute, sir. Wait a minute. We are in a public meeting. Commissioner Henderson made a motion to approve. Commissioner Cowan seconded the motion. Now discussion is on the floor. Sir, you out of order, sir. We're in the, sir, you out of order. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Henderson stated the motion. He said, so moved, stated by our planning officer. Commissioner Cowan seconded the motion. That's a legal motion on the floor. Now the motion is open for discussion. Commissioner Cowan.
Just to make sure I comply with all procedural guidelines, I want my second to say, I make a second to approve future land use map amendment 21-000001.
You done with your discussion?
The discussion is, I just want everybody to understand, it's not a rezoning, it's a future land use map amendment. It's changing from a high-density, high-industrial use, which could be manufacturing, it could be anything that's above a M1 zoning. This is actually the highest, and it's downgrading the zoning or the future land use for that area to a residential component, which is already supplemented by a residential area right there off of 142.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to clear up some confusion, I believe we had some of our citizens thought that the first segment of our hearing was about the apartments at Fairview Road. And that's not what we're discussing right now. Right now, we're discussing the future land use map in District 4 and not the rezoning that I believe has now been withdrawn in District 3, if I'm correct.
We ain't got that for you yet.
Okay. So I think there was some, I got confused there too. So right this second, we're talking about Commissioner Henderson's District 4, the future land use map. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? It passes 4-1. Thank you. Ms. Applewhite.
Thank you, Chairman. Our second case this evening, it's a rezoning on Fairview Road. It is REZ 21-000002. It's also the Almond Tier 1 overlay. The applicant has, Chairman, actually requested that this be withdrawn. So I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Commissioner Sanders.
I make a motion. I make a motion to accept the applicant's rejection or withdrawal request for case number REZ 21-000002 on Fairview Road to request withdrawal of the application.
Thank you.
Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Sanders and second by Commissioner Cowan. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I guess it's directed to the county attorney. Even if we would withdraw it, could he bring it back, or is it dead at this point?
It could be brought back. Judy, what is it? Excuse me, 6 months?
If they withdraw, it could be brought back immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's turning it on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Shannon, can you explain, please?
Yes, this project actually came in before the moratorium was initiated, so if they withdraw it, they do have the option to bring it back before the July date.
Okay.
Commissioner Sanders.
I would just like, I don't know if this is the order, but to explain what the applicant can do even though he just withdrawn for the citizens that are sitting out in the audience.
Absolutely. It's currently zoned residential, single family, so the applicant does have a by right use to put single family homes there. And I believe the proposal is somewhere around 50 homes. We haven't actually formally received the concept and everything for that at this time, but they do have that by right option.
And what is the process? Does he come back to the planning commission with that proposal, or it automatically just goes through?
Actually, it will go before the planning commission for a preliminary plat. It doesn't come here.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So they had to start the process over again, pretty much?
Correct, for the preliminary plat phase, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just trying to let you know that I think the next step, you know, he has withdrawn it, is to go to the planning commission.
Thank you. Any more discussions? All in favor? Thank you. Thank you. 5-0. It is withdrew. Next, Ms. Applewhite.
Yes, sir, I'm just gonna forward it. All right. So the final case for this evening, it is a modification request. Case number is MOD 21-000001. The existing zoning is Cord 2. This is in the Orchard Park subdivision. Existing flume or future land use map is residential. It is located in District 4, and it's on Ryan Lane and Orchard Park Drive. The mapping parcel number is 79C-121. It is a total of 2.5 acres. The owner is Orchard Group LLC, and the petitioner is James S. Cameron. The applicant's intent is to modify the conditions of zoning to change an existing 1.8 acres of the 2.58 to which is currently commercial zoning. They want to designate to a residential designation within an existing cord, which is a community-oriented residential development. And like I said, this is called Orchard Park, this particular subdivision. The existing condition to be modified is from the Board of Commissioners meeting minutes from November 20th, 2000. And the motion at the time was to uphold the Planning Commission's recommendation for approval with staff recommendations. And also that should the property be sold, it must continue to adhere to approved drawing or revert back to prior zoning. And the Planning Commission minutes showing shows the 1.8 acres for commercial development. This is the old minutes that we're modifying today. So the condition as proposed by the applicant is to modify the conditions of zoning to change the existing 1.8 acres of the commercial designation to a single-family residential designation within the existing cord. Recommended conditions. Should this petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved conditional, subject to the owner's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. Where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and offerings contained in the letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. 1, to the owner's agreement to abide by the following standards. A maximum of 8 single-family lots to be located off of Ryan Lane. This is the northern entrance into the Orchard Park subdivision. B, the minimum square footage of the houses shall be no less than 1,400 heated square feet and 1,700 square feet overall. C, no duplicate house plans can be built on adjacent lots. D, street trees located on Ryan Lane at the north entrance shall be retained. If any trees must be removed due to disease, side grading, or the placement of a home, a replacement tree shall be planted. E, 2-car garages are required. F, driveways shall be constructed in a manner to support 2 additional parking spaces off the right-of-way. G, no parking allowed on Ryan Lane. H, dedicate the remaining 0.78 acres of the 2.58 tract as open space or green space to be maintained by the homeowners association. I, no more than 1.8 acres may be used for single-family residences. J, all other conditions of the original rezoning dated November 21, 2000 and approved by the Board of Commissioners shall apply. Oh, and number 2, to the owner's agreement to abide by the following. A, to the site plan and legal description received by the Department of Planning and Development on February 15, 2021. Said site plan is conceptual only and must meet or exceed the requirements of the zoning ordinance and these conditions prior to the approval of a land disturbance permit. Unless otherwise noted herein, compliance with all conditions shall be in place prior to the issuance of the first certificate of occupancy. And this is an area of the area in that subdivision that this case refers to. It is actually up front, just off of 142, and it's currently just open space now. That's the current zoning part of the CORD. This is a survey proposed by applicant. And this is a lot layout that they are proposing with the 8 new homes to go there. Oh, and that's it. If any questions?
Thank you. We're going to open it up. You got a question? Go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Did the planning commission give a recommendation?
Okay, so Commissioner, this case just came directly to the Board of Commissioners because they're modifying the conditions that the board made previously. So it doesn't actually go to the Planning Commission.
I got you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. We're going to, any more discussion? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. So this was never designated as green space for this community. Is that correct?
Correct. It's a commercial zoning right now, that portion of the CORD.
Okay. So it's a simple matter of we've decided we can't get a return on our investment with commercial. We're going to try to revert back to residential. That's basically what they're saying, right?
Yeah, I think the applicant can best explain where they're coming from, but they have access, and he's indicated that he's gotten the support of the residents there to convert that space back to just residential zoning and to leave the remainder for open space.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. We're going to open it up now for the applicant and those that want to speak in favor tonight. The applicant and those that want to speak in favor tonight, you have 10 minutes to do so. If you will, please come and state your name and your address for the record, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is James Cameron. I'm the applicant. I live at 2380 Paris Point Road, Greensboro, Georgia. I will make it very concise and then just reserve any remaining time I have. This is concerning, as Ms. Applewhite said, just a modification of rezoning on basically 2.5 acres at the entrance of Orchard Park subdivision. I have worked very closely with Mr. Don Kemp, who's here tonight. He's the president of the homeowner association at Orchard Park. And we met to see how the subdivision would feel about a modification from the neighborhood commercial to just simply a residential zoning, to change that into 8 residential lots. And so over several meetings that we have had, he's in full support. He's issued a letter of support. He's here this evening. The letter is a part of the petition that I filed. The staff report that Ms. Applewhite was going over, it adds those conditions that was agreed upon by myself and Mr. Kemp on behalf of the HOA, with one exception, and I would like to clear that up. The staff report, everything that was just mentioned, we're in complete agreement with, other than in item 1B, under recommended conditions on page 3 of the report. It states in there that the heated square feet of the houses would be no less than 1,400, with a 1,700 square foot overall minimum. The commitment I had made to Mr. Kemp is that the actual minimum heated square footage would be 1,700. And we have submitted plans to Mr. Kemp that shows the proposed houses at a minimum of 1,700 up to 2,600 heated square feet. Those plans have been approved. So I think that Mr. Kemp this evening would certify to you also that we do have the support of the HOA. We feel like it's in the best interest of the subdivision. I think it's a better front door to the subdivision. We're actively developing the back part of Orchard Park now. that was originally zoned for 51 lots. We had a modification back maybe a year ago to change it from 51 lots to 25 lots. And we're developing that now. We just feel like the residential up front would be a better front door into the subdivision, a less intensive use, less traffic. The houses that we're proposing to create a good front door to the property is bigger on average that's in the subdivision. We would be part of Phase 1 of Orchard Park. Phase 1 final plat shows a minimum square footage of the homes of 1,250 heated square feet. Again, we're going to 1,700 as a minimum, up to 2,600. So with that being said, again, we are fully agree with all the conditions that staff has laid out. Those are the same conditions with the one exception I mentioned that we negotiated with the homeowner association. And with that being said, I'll just reserve the balance of my time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else want to speak in favor tonight? Anyone else want to speak in favor tonight? Thank you. That portion is closed. We also allow 10 minutes for those that want to oppose tonight. Those that want to oppose tonight, you may come at this time, state your name and your address for the record, please. Anyone want to oppose tonight? Anyone wants to oppose? Yes, ma'am. If you would, please, come and state your name, your address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Marva Smith, and I live at 260 Silveridge Road in Covington, the Silveridge subdivision. I just would like to ask the builder, if that's a good name that I can use, what is the benefit to you?
So, you can just address the commission board.
What is the benefit to him building all these apartments in our community? And what is the benefit to me and my property value down the road? And I'd just like to hear him answer the benefit to him.
So, are you done with your comment?
For now, if
All
I
right. All right, thank you. Anyone else want to oppose tonight? Anyone else want to oppose tonight? Thank you. That portion of our public hearing is closed. Now, the applicant can come back up and rebuttal. He has 6 minutes and 16 seconds. If he would like, he can come back up and rebuttal.
I apologize. I did not hear the question.
Yeah, if you will.
What Ms. Smith was asking you is what is the benefit to you building these apartments in this area, and how will that affect her property values?
Okay.
Houses,
But
yeah.
she
said apartment.
She did state apartments.
Yeah, this is not in any way an apartment project or a multifamily project. These are single-family detached homes. So all we're doing is taking the 2.58 acres, we're creating 8 residential lots for single-family detached, which are bigger on average than the average size lots in the subdivision, with bigger homes than the average in the subdivision. That's everything that we're doing. Of the 2.58 acres, we're deeding 0.78 acres over to the HOA in the area where it makes sense. In other words, all the land, yeah, I'm sure, hopefully you're familiar with Orchard Park subdivision, very nice entranceway. But the way it was designed is actually the entranceway feature, a lot of the landscaping is on this 2.5 acre tract. It was never deeded to the HOA. So our agreement is we would take that land, 0.78 acres, deed it to the HOA as part of our proposal. The staff has already recognized that and put that in their recommended conditions so that we can only use 1.8 acres for the 8 residential lots. We're in full agreement on, we've already submitted a site plan, and we're fully in compliance with that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Thank you. That portion of our public hearing is closed. You gonna do it for me? Attorney Martin, please.
Thank you, Chairman Baines. Commissioner Henderson does not have his reading glasses, so he has asked that I read the motion for him. This would be a motion to approve modification case number MOD 21-000001 with staff conditions and amended conditions of the one-bedroom from 1,400 heated square feet to 1,700 heated square feet.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion to approve as read by the county attorney.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a second? Second. It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Cowan. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When this first subdivision was first started to be developed, and the late Hubert White, he got with me, which is district commissioner, and he wrote the property and he showed me exactly how he wanted to have it done. And then I think he came back, or some of his staff came back, and they said, we're gonna reduce the amount of lots in the back part, because it was a very beautiful, to me, a very beautiful piece of property. I had a lake back there and et cetera back there, and he reduced it rather than building a whole lot of more homes. And so we think this is a good use of the property, and it'll continue to make District 4 for 142 look good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you so much. Next, we're going to go back to item number 6, the chairman. Thank you, Ms. Applewhite. We're going to go back to item number 6, the chairman's report. I don't have anything tonight. I'm going to go on. No. Yeah. That's not a public hearing. We're going to go to the item number 6, the chairman's report, and I don't have anything. We're going to go over to our county manager tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've just got a few things. We can go to the next slide, please. Here's our employee population for this month. We've got a total of 728 employees. We do have 375 seasonal election workers, as well as 25 state employees, and then 23 people who do serve on our boards for us. The building permits issued for this past month, you can see that we have issued a total of 156 primary residential permits this month, so we're still having quite a bit of residential development. Next slide, please. Work orders by district this month, and you can see those for each district, as well as the roads that were paved in the various districts from our LMIG paving list that you all approved last December. And we're still working on the projects, the sidewalk project in River Farms, and we are continuing to run. We're able to put 3 full crews. That's a total of 30 people every day picking up trash on the county roads. So and we'd like to be able to field 40 people, but we're having a little difficulty getting those 10 additional folks. But we are able to keep around 30 people every day picking up trash. So we are doing the best we can to make an attempt to get that cleaned up. We've got a couple of pictures from the Dinah Pace Park ribbon cutting. Also, a little history there. We found out, or I found out, some of the, obviously the people who, a lot of the folks who lived there who are in this photo, and other people in the community were familiar with Ms. Dinah Pace, who was born a slave and actually achieved her her education from Atlanta University and taught school. I believe it was the first black school, African-American school in Newton County in the 1880s, and then went on, she and her husband, had a one-room house in the community there and began to take in orphan children. And over the course of the next 40 years or so, she and her husband took in and took care of over 700 children that had been orphaned in the county. Unfortunately, there's nothing left over there of her home or where it was. There's a plaque here honoring her service to the county, and certainly the people in the community there know her and remember her and revere her, as we all should in the county. And I think that's just it's a wonderful story and wonderful to know that this county is home to so many people like that, who do such great things for the community. So we had a great time over there. We did get this was a SPLOST project and a project that came together. This was one of Commissioner Henderson's projects and was spearheaded by Reverend Reed, who lives over there, and several of the other folks in the community. And took a few years to get there, but we did get there, and it's really a very nice park, and I know that everybody will enjoy that park and for many years to come. Next slide. We've got some information on COVID. We wanted to bring everybody up to speed. You can see there the number of cases, total number of deaths in the county so far. Next slide, please. This is a graphic showing the age. The greatest number of cases is between the ages of 40 and 49 with, and you can see how that is broken out there. Next is by race and ethnicity. It's almost evenly split between black and white, and then there's 21% that are of unknown origin there. Now, a lot of people are asking the question, because we are in the vaccination process, who can get the next slide, please, who is eligible. And I believe we are in Tier 1AA, and you can see the folks there, healthcare workers. Originally, it was people 65 and over, educators and staff, intellectual, developmental disabilities, adults and their caregivers, and now it's adults 55 and older, individuals who are 16 with certain medical conditions, and what became effective yesterday, the governor made an announcement over the week, I guess it was last Friday, and made an announcement that people who are over 55 were now eligible. Some other things, this page just broadens that just a little bit, and you can see there some of the particular people who would be eligible, people who have asthma, sickle cell, diabetes, obesity, cystic fibrosis, certain neurological injuries or conditions, technology dependence, asthma, cancer, kidney disease, and so on. And any adult with any disability. So in the next page here, you'll see if you're eligible and you need an appointment, you can go online and schedule with the Gwinnett Newton Rockdale Health Department, and that's you can see their web address there. You can also try to call. You can also check with your local health care provider. As a matter of fact, I was sent a notice by Piedmont. We are our health insurance here is primarily connected with the Piedmont healthcare system, and so I was sent a notice in my chart, which is their notification system, that I was eligible to be scheduled, and so I was able to schedule an appointment. And I wasn't able to schedule it here, but I am eligible, and so next week I've scheduled my first appointment. But you can also go to the State Department of Health website to look for all the vaccination locations in the state, and that is listed there as well. And we'll have all this posted on our website. I know this is kind of quick to go through, but we'll have all that posted as well. Yes, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Stan, you're a little late. I got my shot this morning, my first shot this morning at 10 o'clock. It was in Monticello. And to make it even easier, at their health department, I just called them on the telephone, told my name, my address, and then when I went to get my shot, there was no long line. In fact, I might have been the only person that was there at that particular time. So I'm saying you can get your shot anywhere in the state of Georgia. You can get, you can get a line to get it. Please do.
My understanding is there are more vaccines available now, and it appears that in the early stages of the vaccination, a lot of people were making appointments, and then they were able to find someplace closer to go to home, so they made a second appointment, and they closer to wherever they lived, and never bothered to cancel the appointment at some of the other places they've scheduled. And so now there are more appointments that are opening up. So it is a little easier to get an appointment a little closer. But some people have had to go as far away as Savannah to get the vaccines here a few weeks ago. So, but also a little later on there's a request, an item in here requesting permission to apply for a FEMA grant, and we'll talk a little bit about a site that we're looking at being able to be a part of setting up here in the county. So, and that's all I have for tonight, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Any more questions? Thank you. Next is item number 8, old business. Appointment to the JDA, Joint Development Authority. The nominations. Nominations are Marcella Baines, the Chairman of the Board of Commissioners, was nominated by District 1. Commissioner J.C. Henderson was nominated by Commissioner Elena Sanders, District 3. We're going to allow District 3, Elena Sanders, to go first with you. Okay. You can make a motion. I'm sorry.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Commissioner J.C. Henderson to the Joint Development Authority Board.
Can I get a second, please? Thank you, Commissioner Sanders. It's been motioned by Commissioner Sanders and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would say lately, we have, and this is, I guess, my opinion. I'll state my opinion. It's been things that we have not been informed of, and for example, it was about the letter that was written to the I guess Cubs News, and they put my name and my district on it. And I think I had said a while back that I wouldn't like for my image, my face, or my district to place anything that somebody told me. In other words, don't put my image or anything, because I've kind of had my reservation on several things, which I've kind of vented to a certain extent to the board. There have been times about properties that we didn't know who we were buying it from, and when I talked to some of the other commissioners, they said, well, they're supposed to do that, but I just simply feel that if you're going to buy some property, then we should know. We have to raise our hand up or give a consensus as far as moving forward with it. And this is something that I'm just a little worried about. It's just like giving my signature or giving the go-ahead on something when I didn't know about it, or person property, I don't know who I'm buying it from. And so the question was asked, and I'm going to close out, Mr. Chairman. The question that I asked was, had anybody, commissioner, ever told anybody about some property or whatever the county might be buying that we were keeping it behind closed doors? And the question was no. So I just feel like the district commissioners, we should be informed as for what's going on sitting up here. We shouldn't be learning something from the paper or something, or through an email, which very seldom I get an email, but, through email, I feel that we should be told firsthand. And so that's why, I agreed to being nominated for this so that we get the information. Because I'm just say this in closing, a district commissioner, whoever it is only good as the information that he or she receives. And right now, I can't speak for nobody but myself, not receiving that information. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Sanders.
I want to expound on the reason why I nominated Commissioner Henderson. As we know, Commissioner Henderson is the longest-serving commissioner on this board since 1996. He has seen many things and knows a lot of things that are happening here in Covington, Georgia. Knowing him, he has been very transparent in all of his transactions. And as he mentioned, just to echo a little bit of what he's stating, we as citizens of Newton County should know what's going on. We should know what land is being bought. We should know what companies are coming into the area, because this is your tax dollars. You live here. You should know where who's coming next to you, who's living next to you. You should know all those different things. So those are the reasons why I nominated Commissioner Henderson, because of his background, his expertise in the area. He would be a valuable asset, and any commissioner can sit on this board. Any commissioner would be a valuable asset, but I looked at him being the person who has that expertise in that area. He would be a great asset to the Joint Development Board.
Thank you. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion failed 3-2. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Newton County Board of Commissioners Chairman, Mr. Marcelo Baines, to the Joint Development Authority of Stanton Springs.
Can I get a second, please?
I'd like to second that, please.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Cowan. Any discussion? Commissioner Cowan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My nomination has nothing to do with Commissioner Henderson, but it has everything to do with our chairman, Mr. Marcelo Baines. 4 years ago, when we sent Chairman Baines down there, I believe I made the motion then, if I'm not mistaken, to do that, and it was with a condition. I believe the chairman and I had lunch one day, and I said, look, if we're going to send you down there, we've got to have something else, something different from Stanton Springs. We got to have some feedback on what goes on down there, and he agreed. So as a result, we now get a quarterly, if not monthly, readout from what's going on down there, something we had never had before. And I can personally attest to two different scenarios where the chairman insisted. Once he insisted that some money that the JDA, apparently a majority of the JDA, wanted to take some money and not feed it back to the counties. The chairman strongly objected and was able to negotiate that money coming back to the counties. Another time was his experience as his business experience as a hauler, if I'm not mistaken, led him to understand better the cost of a particular project that was going on down there, and was able to save the JDA and subsequently all the counties, Newton County included, quite a bit of money. So, and then the record in the last 4 years with the Takeda expansion and the Facebook expansion, and now a new client, a different client coming in to Stanton Springs. I just don't know why we want to upset that apple cart right now. I think what's going on down the chairman is representing us very well down there right now. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Any more? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say this, that had I not supported to purchase the property for the Joint Development Authority, Newton County would not have had this same project that everybody's talking so much about back south of Facebook, would not have happened. I'm one of the original commissioners who sat behind this horseshoe and made that decision to bring this particular growth here to Newton County. What the idea was that when it became profitable, that it would bring back tax dollars back to the citizens. Now, they said that it has brought a little back, but not near as the amount of money from the tax abatement and the monies that the citizens all have paid for that Murtaugh County Industrial Park. And I'll say this once again, and not trying to prolong the vote, was that they got to be held accountable to the citizens of Newton County every single cent. In fact, the meeting should be public, the same way this is. And so should other meetings stuff that they have. And so they're not, and that concerns me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Thank you. It passes 3-2. Thank you. Next is item number 9, the consent agenda. I seek a motion that we approve, please. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could you have somebody read? Because could we start having someone just to briefly read the consent agenda so that I guess most of the people who are listening know exactly what's on it.
If you wanna read it? If you wanna go ahead, you can.
I'm not. How about we asked would you read the consent agenda for me, please?
Mr. Kerr, would you like to read the consent agenda? Yes. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I didn't hear the question. I was reading the agenda.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Ms. Judy, would you read it?
The consent agenda. Item 9A, County Clerk, approval of executive session minutes dated January 5th, 2021. Item 9B, County Clerk, approval of executive session minutes dated May 19th, 2020. Item 9C, County Clerk, approval of the BOC minutes dated February 16th, 2021. Item 9D, Fire Services, request approval to apply for Fire Marshal Global Grant to purchase smoke alarms and iPad. Deadline 3/31/2021, no match required. Item 9E, Fire Services, request approval to apply for 555 Fitness Grant to purchase workout equipment. Deadline 4/1/2021, no match required. Item 9F, Fire Services, request approval to accept the $5,000 grant from CSX to purchase extrication equipment. Item 9G, Juvenile Court, request approval to apply for grant through CJCC for Behavioral Health Court. Item 9H, Juvenile Court, request approval to apply for grant through CJCC for Family Treatment Court. Item 9I, ratify approval to Parks and Recreation request to apply for General Mills Hometown Grant to host the Back to School Bash. The deadline was 3/4/2021. Item 9J, Newton County Sheriff's Office, request approval to apply for the Residential Substance Abuse Treatment, RSAT, program grant. Deadline is 3/31/2021. There is a 25% match required by either cash or in-kind services. Item 9K, Sheriff's Office, request for approval to apply for the GEMA Homeland Security Grant Program. No match required.
Thank you, Judy. Any more discussion? Commissioner Sanders.
Mine's real quick and simple. I just like just requesting if in the future for the grants, if we can put the amount on the actual agenda so the citizens know how much the grants are, so they know what money is coming in and what money is going out. So that's my only request.
Thank you. Anyone else? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Next is item number 10. Mr. Nolan's here. EMA requests approval to apply for FEMA grant reimbursement to cover the cost of vaccination clinics in Newton County. Mr. Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a grant from FEMA. It's a 100% reimbursement grant. We will have to expend some money, but we will be reimbursed 100% for it. Some of this funding to FEMA is from the Recovery Act of 2021, and this is to establish, in conjunction with the Gwinnett Newton Rockdale Health Department, a vaccination center here in Newton County. We anticipate that the initial setup costs for that center would be around $36,000, and we think that anticipate that the monthly expense for personnel and all of the personal protective equipment, as well as all of the other tables, chairs, equipment, computers, and so forth. Our monthly expenses would be roughly $90,000, we've identified a couple of sites already, but we've not firmed those up. We are working with the health department. You and I had a phone conference today with the health department concerning other locations, and once we nail that down, we'll have some more definite information. But we wanted to go ahead and get this in the works so that we could get this set up as quickly as the middle of April, and so that we would have a site here. And it's anticipated that this would be in operation most likely through June and into July, possibly as long as September, but we think that the mass, according to the health department, the mass vaccination centers probably would not be necessary after mid or late summer. So this is a temporary, this grant would be for a temporary center.
Thank you, sir. Guys, I seek a motion. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lord, would the proposed site that you're thinking about, would they be sites where we pay them, or would it be a county-owned possible site, without telling me, I guess, what the sites you're looking at?
We looked at county-owned facilities, but so far, there wasn't one that fit the necessary requirements of the health department. So we identified a couple of commercial sites that we could do short-term leases on. And so that's most likely what we'll do. But we did have, there were 2 other sites that we wanted to investigate. And we've asked them to also look at those sites to see if they'd be suitable.
Well, just let me say this because I'm at that age where I need to get my shot, and I did. But if you look around, I guess, around the state and to other counties other than Newton, they set up real nice tents, and what they do are under the, I call it shelter. Like when I went to Monroe this morning, he was outside under the shelter shed, and the lady, she just had a simple couple of tables, and she just came with the car. She didn't even want me to drive. I feel the pepper. She said, "Oh yeah, you aren't," and she just shot me in the arm. So the only thing what I'm saying is that I don't think that we need to be spending a whole lot of money on just having somewhere where people will sit up and give you a shot in the arm. And it wasn't painless, but it sure wasn't bad.
Right. Well, the health department is really looking for an enclosed space where everybody could go indoors, and that really is the ideal site that they want us to pursue. So we're working closely with them on this.
Thank you. Guys, I seek a motion, please. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I seek a motion to request approval to apply for the FEMA grant reimbursement to cover cost of vaccination clinic in Newton County. Request also to partner with Gwinnett, Newton, and Rockdale County Health Departments to provide vaccines to citizens in Newton County. Also include a contract agreement for lease of unspecified location and operational equipment to include computers, scanner, tables, chairs, etc. And the deadline was March 17, 2021. The initial setup cost was $36,000 with $90,000 monthly expenses.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a second, please? It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is item number 11, consideration approval of water and sewer capacity and service agreement with the Newton County Water and Sewage Authority. I ain't got it tonight. Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry. Excuse me, we got a different agenda here. So item number 10A is financials.
Good evening. Tonight I will be presenting the February 2021 financials, and February is the 7th month of our fiscal year. So the 8th month of our fiscal year, which is about 66% of our budget year. I'll start with the general fund revenues. Our general fund revenues for the year are $54 million, and that puts us at 70.96% of our actuals. And these graphs depict where we are month by month for the year and where we are to our budget amount. Our general fund expenditures for the year, we've spent $45.1 million, and that puts us at 58.9% of our actual to budget. And these two graphs show where we are month to month and where we are currently to our budgeted amount for the year. Our general fund totals, so our revenues have been $54 million, our expenditures have been $45.1 million, so currently we are operating in an excess of $8.9 million, but we will see that decline as the year goes on. Our three enterprise funds, our water fund revenue for the year is $6.6 million, their expenditures for the year $4.3 million. The solid waste fund, their revenues for the year $4.9 million. And their expenditures are $2.9 million. And our Gaithers Fund, their revenues are $242,000 for the year, and their expenditures are $166,000 for the year. And these graphs show where they are in comparison to the budgeted amounts. I'll start with our 2005 SPLOST, and today we actually paid off the COPS 06 admin debt, so we will no longer have the 05 SPLOST open anymore, so I'm excited about that. And we paid $52,000 from the 05 SPLOST towards the COPS admin debt. In the 2011 SPLOST, we currently have 2 open projects, Fire Station 8, which will be wrapped up soon, and then we'll have the historic jail still open, so we have $1.1 million remaining in the 2011 SPLOST. In the 2017 SPLOST, we currently have $9 million, but we are still currently collecting. In our collections, we were $1.4 million for January, so that puts us at $50 million for the 2017 SPLOST. We are currently around $11 million over our projected collections. In our impact fee fund, we currently have a balance there of $2.9 million, and I will take any questions that you have.
Thank you. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It was my understanding when we changed over the tax commission, when it changed, that new accounts were set up, and there was old accounts from the prior tax commissioner. Is that reflected in these numbers? I mean, trying to figure it out. Where
I would direct you to the tax commissioner, Marcus Jordan, to answer those questions, because that does not flow through the finance department.
Okay, so I thought they collect the money and then somehow or another we receive it, or they give us a check or whatever.
Yeah, the
So-
tax commissioner collects the money, and then they disperse it out to the cities, the county, and the school district.
Lord, if you would, could you kind of check into that and give us a report, if you would, please, on that, on those monies?
Can you repeat your question? Repeat your question one more time for us.
Well, I want to know, there was my understanding that when the new tax commissioner came in, that he set up his own accounts. And the prior tax commissioner, had the prior amounts of money, I guess it's supposed to be in a fund or bank or whatever, probably in the bank. And I just want to know how much money was that, and
How much money that was in
the
the
prior,
account? Oh,
yeah.
okay, I see what you're saying.
We need to know that. And lastly, it's my understanding that the recreation had about $300,000 left in account. And I want you just, is they reflecting these numbers?
Yeah, they had roughly, at the end of before the Recreation Commission was dissolved, their audit showed them having roughly $300,000, I think it was $292,000 of unreserved fund balance.
Okay, so you put that in our fund balance?
Well, I've actually been working on that this week with the Recreation, so we're working on finalizing their trial balances to get them into our system. And then once we've done that, then we'll bring a budget amendment to the board to disperse out that money.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
And
Go ahead,
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make sure I'm clear on the question. Commissioner Henderson, you said that the current tax commissioner has said that there were funds in an account that were left there by the former tax commissioner?
Right. See what it was when Commissioner Jordan was elected as tax commissioner. He set up all new accounts. He didn't take money from the prior accounts. They had to have an account.
Okay,
He
so.
didn't take money from the prior account. So we're trying to find out how much is in the prior account, if
Okay,
anything.
okay,
Or if
so
it is, well, how was it spent?
Okay, so he's saying there's a balance there that he can't
It
access.
should be.
Okay.
Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is item number 11. Consideration approval of a water, sewer, and capacity service agreement with Newton County Water and Sewer Authority. Ms. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before you all tonight, you have a water and sewer capacity and service agreement with the Newton County Water and Sewage Authority and Baymare LLC. As you all may remember, as we were very excited a few years ago to be sitting up here about a data center that Facebook had put forward. It was a great thing for the community. And fortunately, you've got a similar project, it appears, coming through. So what we've done on this agreement is we've taken the agreement that we used previously with the Facebook deal, and we've tweaked it somewhat, but not a lot. So I want to tell you where those differences are, and then I would ask for a motion to approve. The agreement itself is in between the Water and Sewerage Authority, the county, and with this company, Baymare LLC. What we're doing is we're committing to providing water needs up to a certain amount. Since this new building is also a data center, the water needs are similar, and so we, as I said, did a similar contract. There were some modifications, but most were on the sewer side and on the pipe delivery side because the authority will be building a water tank out in Stand Springs. We have worked with James Brown, and he has reviewed and assisted with the negotiation of this matter and is comfortable with that. The county recently had its water treatment permit reduced by the EPD because our permitted capacity was so much more than we were actually using each year. But EPD has assured us that we can quickly and easily apply to increase our capacity once we can demonstrate that need. But even under our current reduced permit, the county has permitted capacity to meet the amount stated in this agreement. And again, this is an agreement you've seen before, and its only modifications are those that I have highlighted for you. If someone would like to make the motion to approve, it would be, I would like to make a motion to approve the Water and Sewer Capacity and Service Agreement with the Newton County Water and Sewerage Authority and Baymare LLC.
Thank you. Can I seek a motion, please?
So moved as stated by the county attorney.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you so much. Next is item number 12, facilities purchasing, requesting approval of a requesting approval of a contract with Prime Pest Solutions for pest services. I think that's Mr. Kerr.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a contract, as you stated, for our pest control. This is a new contract. We bid this service out this year and have a new provider. There is a typo on this, and the annual cost, instead of being $848.99, I believe that should read $8,448.99. There was a typo in the information that was submitted on this. So the actual cost there is $8,448.99 annually.
Thank you, sir. Got to seek a motion, please.
So moved as stated by the county manager.
Thank you, sir. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion?
Right here, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Lloyd, our purchasing policy was followed in acquiring
Yes.
this vendor?
We did put it out for bid. We did have multiple bidders, and this actually was the best bid, and it came in at little over $700 less than what our last year's contract was.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Information services are requesting approval to renew closed port email security renewal agreement. Mr. Kerr.
This, item number 13,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Let me get this new. Just got a new agenda. I guess there was some changes on these agendas that I didn't. Thank you. So item number 13, I'm sorry. Finance purchasing, requesting approval of elected officials, P-card agreement. Mr. Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Actually, I'm going to ask our Finance Director, Brittany White, to come up and to present this item to you.
Good evening. There is currently an OCGA that requires that any elected official who has a P card, it has to be sent to the board to be voted on. So with newly elected members of the tax commissioner and the district attorney this year getting purchase cards, my office started doing a little research and came across this. So we wanted to go ahead and also send through the current elected officials who have P cards through tonight as well, just so we can have all of our files and everything the way that it should be according to this OCGA. So we currently have 4 elected officials who have purchase cards. Tax Commissioner Marcus Jordan has a purchase card with a $5,000 monthly limit. Sheriff Ezell Brown has a purchase card with a monthly limit of $5,000 as well. Chairman Marcelo Baines has a purchase card with a monthly limit of $20,000, and Randy McGinley, District Attorney, also has a purchase card with a monthly limit of $1,500. So if anybody has any questions, I will be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions, Commissioner? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. Yeah, on the purchase card, is it certain items that they may be able to purchase, or how, I mean, you tell me, because I know that, I think the sheriff, the sheriff is, what'd you say, 5,000, and Sherman is 20,000. So how do we, because we, you know, I mean, so how, I mean, is everything that purchased by them is going on a list? I know you can go out and eat dinners and stuff like that, which is good.
We do have purchasing policies. So that does lay out, the purchasing policy includes the purchase card policy, and that policy does lay out what can and can't be purchased on it. Generally, we try to reserve purchase cards for emergencies only. The chairman has a higher limit for emergency purposes. The sheriff does have a $5,000 limit, but he also has other people in his department that have purchase cards as well.
Okay, so, I remember while back, the fire chief, so if I had one, he tried to give one to me one time, I wouldn't take it. So would it list, say I went out and bought a Coca-Cola, he would list a Coke on the card. And so how could I access that information?
So you want to know what can be purchased, or you want to know what has been purchased?
Well, I think this fast is government money. You supposed to be, anyone should be able to look at it if they
Absolutely.
want to.
We have logs of every purchase card. So every month, every purchase card holder has to turn in a log to us with all receipts. If all receipts, detailed receipts, not just the receipt saying how much they spent, we actually need to see item by item what has been purchased. If they did accidentally purchase something on there they weren't supposed to or cannot provide a receipt, we do require them to pay the county back.
Well, what I feel that because of some of the sensitive issues that the sheriff had, that shouldn't be public. But I think any other purchase card by anybody else should be public. You should be able to go and see what's on it. So, do we list it?
Well, yes, we do have purchase card logs in our office that are subject to open records requests. Anybody can submit an open records request at any time and receive those. We keep them electronically, so we can just send them to anybody that ever requests them. So, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Anyone else? Commissioner Edwards?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, thank you, Commissioner Henderson. I think we have to have these P-card discussion. We cannot be afraid to have these P-card discussions right here. We had a county official went to jail not too many years ago for abuse of P-cards, and we cannot shy away from having those discussions. I echo Commissioner Henderson's sentiment. I don't want one, but I do find that the people that we've named that have them, I do find those people trustworthy. So, but we just can't be afraid to have those conversations. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Sanders.
Thank you so much, Brittany. New kid on the block, so I'm asking questions. I do think that we should have this listed publicly because we are on this motto of transparency. So if it's listed publicly, then we don't have to worry about doing open record requests. We don't have to worry about anybody asking any questions. To know that we as elected officials are doing it the way we're supposed to do, it should be listed to where the citizens can access it at any time because it is their tax dollars, it's their money. So I don't know if we can start that process or where it can go because that does make a little bit more sense for us to be on that motto of transparency.
We can, I'll be happy to discuss with Lloyd and we can see what we can.
Hold on, let Lloyd answer her question. Go ahead, Lloyd.
I was just going to say we can add it to that transparency module. I'm assuming there's room on that page that we can do that.
Well, that's generated through our software system, so it pulls from our general ledger. The P cards are a lot of pages usually every month, so we could look at doing it. It would just need to be somewhere where we're capable of housing several pages because we're talking probably 20 to 25 logs every month with 10 to 20 pages. So,
Commissioner Henderson and then Commissioner Cowell.
I know. Brittany, are you asking us to approve what we currently got in place, or are we adding any additional people?
The chairman and the sheriff were already currently had these cards, and they have for years. And Marcus Jordan and Randy McGinley, they're two new ones.
They're two new ones, okay. But that's all?
Yes.
And then there is a policy, I talked to Megan, there is a policy on the issuance of P-cards. And does that come through y'all finance
It
department?
comes through the purchasing and
Okay.
myself and Lloyd.
Okay, thank you.
This is just strictly for elected officials.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. And I just want to reiterate what I said about because of the sensitive information and we don't want to give criminals a kind of know what's going on in the office of the sheriff. And so I think that should be somewhat excluded or maybe another avenue from someone maybe wanting to get that, go through certain channels. But I think anybody else should be public.
No, no, sir. We're gonna open up all of them. We do all of them. We're gonna be, like Commissioner Sanders said, we're gonna be transparent with all of them. Thank you. Commissioner Cowan.
I'm not sure if you grant the DA one, you don't want that information public, do you? Or the sheriff?
Well, the
It's-
purchases,
all of this, wait a minute, all of this stuff is subject to open record requests. So there's nothing that the sheriff can purchase on his P card that is, with taxpayers' dollars, that's not open record request. There's nothing that I can purchase with my P card that's not open, that's subject to, open record request.
Megan, is there anything the DA could purchase?
Is that correct?
If it is subject to the ORAR, all of them would be public record.
Okay, so they're all open records then?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't think the sheriff would mind. I know I don't mind, so I'm sure he wouldn't mind either. So, make it public, yeah.
And if we did get any open records requests, and if I felt there was any sensitive information, I could always send to the DA or the sheriff or legal for any redactions that might need to happen.
Commissioner Cowan?
How do we know what's the reasonable amount for the P card limit?
We generally have a structure, so for department heads, it's usually 5,000. If somebody requests a lower limit, obviously we will give them a lower limit.
So the
and
DA's requested 1,500?
He did not want the full 5,000. He
Okay.
requested 1,500.
Okay, good.
Anyone else? All in favor? I thought we did a motion. I thought we had a motion.
Brittany, what are you looking for in your motion tonight? Or the
I just need
approval?
approval that the tax commissioner, the chairman, the DA, and the sheriff can have P cards at the limits that I stated.
Thank you. I seek a motion, please. Commissioner Edwards.
I'll try it, Mr. Chairman. Motion to approve the elected official P card agreement per purchasing policy with the addition of the named elected officials.
Can I get a second, please? It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any more discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What was the amount limit on the P card for Keith Ellis, the former chairman?
I do not know that off the top of my head, but I will be happy to look
Was
that
it-
up tomorrow.
I'm asking, do you know, Lloyd? Keith Ellis, the former chairman of Board of BOC. How much was his allotted amount?
He's at the
Did he
limit on
receive
Keith
20,000?
Ellis's P card.
Limit?
I have records, I can look that up
Look,
tomorrow.
I would like to, at least ask for a substitute motion. Substitute motion is for us to table this, to give the staff time to look at and maybe give us a recommendation by looking at prior chairmans and see what their limits were on their cards.
Is that motion just stated, substitute motion just stated for the chairman or everybody?
All of them be looked at.
Everybody, okay. Is there a second for that?
I second.
When would you like this tabled? For 30 days? 30 days.
There's a substitute motion on the floor. It's been motioned that we table this by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Sanders, that we table this for 30 days. Any discussion? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you. So Megan, what does this do for those holding a P card right now?
I will defer to Brittany, but my assumption here is that their P cards will keep on working for the next 30 days. Is that?
Seeing that this is something that, upon research, my office just found, and this was something from 2016, everybody's cards have been currently on and working since then, so I would advise that we not cut them off for cases of emergency, because that's what they're there for.
If they keep working, so that
Exactly.
they'll continue to work for the next 30
Yes.
days. Okay.
Anyone else? Any more discussion? All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you, sir. Wait 1 second. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, because I know 2 of our elected officials already have P cards, so we know those won't be canceled for the next 30 days. So what about the ones that don't have the P cards yet? And if they need it within the next 30 days, does that mean that they don't have access to use a P card? Or they've already received the P card, we're just approving it?
They've already received the P card, we're just approving it.
Okay, so would theirs not work for the next 30 days?
I would advise the same that I advised with the other 2. We do keep them on for a case. My office does hold 2 that people can check out, but we're not here on the weekends, but the sheriff's department's working on the weekends. District attorney may be working on the weekends. The chairman may be working on the weekend, so I would not be available for them to come use my card.
Okay, I just wanted to provide clarity because I really wanted to make sure that there's no interruption, because I'm sure all 4 of them may need them within 30 days.
Yes.
So I want to make sure there's no interruption at all. All right, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any more discussion? All in favor? This is substitute motion for the table for 30 days. All in favor? All opposed? All opposed? All right. Let's try it again. Somebody raise their hand. All in favor? This is a substitute mode to table this for 30 days. All right. All in favor to table this? All opposed? It passed 4-1. Thank you. It's tabled for 30 days. Thank you, Brittany. Item number 14, Information Services request approval to renew closed port email security renewal agreement. Mr. Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is our contract that helps us to keep our email secure. Greg Mann, our Information Services Director, is here. I'm going to ask Greg if he would come down and speak to this item, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Our email system is very well protected thanks to this program. We get about 8,000 emails a day inbound on any given day. About 5,500 of those emails are legit. The rest are either spam, they get quarantined, or they're blocked for malicious purposes. So this is something we've had go on for the last few years. It was here before I got here. Helps me sleep a little bit better at night knowing that it's in place. Funding source is the current year's budget.
Thank you, sir. Guys, I seek a motion, please. Thank you, sir. Can I get a second? Second. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and it's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Greg.
Item number 15, Sheriff Office requesting for a discussion regarding vehicles update. Mr. Sheriff.
That's it, madam.
Chairman Bain and Commissioner Cowan, Commissioner Edwards, Commissioner Mason, Commissioner Henderson, Lord Kerr, and Commissioner Sanders, and Ms. Martin. I'm not going to be here very long tonight. Just you have quite a bit of information, but I want you to know this, the discussion about the P cards somewhat sparked some interest in me, and I want all of you to know that my P card is a open book. Back a few years ago, someone brought up about when we had someone within the organization, well, within the county, went to prison, and back during that time, it seems as if some folks didn't know the difference between a P card and allotment. And I was tied up in that, so my card, Commissioner Henderson, is an open book, and I want everybody to know that. Anything that sparks my interest, come on in, Commissioner. Wow. Anything that sparks my interest outside of what I can purchase, I have my own cards that I use. As a matter of fact, I think you mentioned something about taking someone out for dinner. I don't even do that. So, but the issue at hand here tonight, as I said earlier, you have all information that's needed to make a competent and wise decision. You know, a few things sparked my interest here tonight. I heard something, and the young man walked away, and I regret that he cannot hear what I'm going to say, because he actually echoed something that I've been saying for many years. There, you subject to see a DeKalb County car before you see a Newton County car. I've shared this with you, and I wish that they was here to hear that from me tonight. And that goes back to staffing, back to that. But I just wanted to bring that up. And also a couple other things I wish that you would, it sparked my interest even while others was up here, Miss Judy and all of them that was doing the planning. It would be very helpful if a lot of these things that are coming to Newton County, businesses, subdivisions, if you would only allow the Office of Sheriff the liberty of having the information, because it's going to impact us. You have each and every time, if you're going to have an intersection that you're going to do something with, you always have the engineer to come out and do the assessment. So what I would say in the future, if you're going to have growth, just inform the sheriff so the sheriff can say, well, this is what you're looking at in terms of protection. And I think it would help all of us. We would not be where we are today if we had thought of this some time ago. If you're planning on bringing in 300 houses in a subdivision, tell the sheriff, say you're going to be looking at 300 houses. I can put it in my budget. If you're going to bring in industry loves protection. I can put it in my budget. So moving forward, I would certainly hope that we can have some kind of direct communications, maybe it doesn't have to be me. I can have someone from my office, maybe my analyst, to get with whomever, so that we can always stay ahead of the game. Tonight, back to the issue at hand, if you would look, we have a total of 97 vehicles that are currently, and this is currently on the road. And I've heard Commissioner Henderson talk about those Crown Vics so many times. We still operate those Crown Vics. But we have 97 in service. 27 of those vehicles, if you look back, I'm just going to scan through some things. 27 of those vehicles have more than 150,000 miles, almost 200,000 miles. We have 49 ranges from 200 to 300,000. We have 9 vehicles that ranges from 300,000 to 400,000. And we have 2 vehicles which is 400,000 plus. We have another 60 vehicles that are in service, and those 60 vehicles just under the threshold of that 150,000. Just under the threshold of that 150,000. Each year we come before the board and we ask for vehicles. When we ask for vehicles, generally we get 6 vehicles in the course of that year. And in getting 6 vehicles, even if you look at where we are today, it would take almost 30 years to replenish the fleet. So that is the reason why we are behind the 8 ball as it relates to vehicles. It's sad, but in my investigation division, if someone has to travel to another state, they either have to borrow my car or we have to seek out a vehicle that we feel that is roadworthy in order to make it to that destination. Last 2019, we received 11 cars. That's what we received. And I guess had not COVID impacted us in the hiring process, and we were able to hire the 12 that's position that we have today, we could not even put those individuals in a vehicle. And it seems as if to me we can find money for everything else. We can find money for everything else. If we got a new project, we can find the money. If we need a fire truck, we can find the money. If we need vehicles or equipment for the county, we can find the money. And I'm just shooting straight. And I think it's time now. My father always told me, so you spend your money where your heart is. Well, I eat good food, see my stomach. And I believe in fine clothes. Well, that too. Also, when I was in business, I believe in putting my money in the business. And this is what we are. We are in the business. Our vehicles need to be able to, we run 100 miles an hour down the road. That's liability. And it's going to fall on the Board of Commissioners. It also impacts morale. It also impacts stability there at the Office of Sheriff. A number of them would love to have a brand new car because they see cars cross town and they see other agencies allowing their staff to drive cars to Newton County. And somewhat the appearance. We do the best we can with the vehicles that we currently have. We wreck them, we tear them up, we fix them, we paint them. But we're just spinning our wheels because we're spending over $300,000 in maintenance. We're spending over $300,000 in maintenance a year just trying to keep them afloat. And now we have waited to the point the vehicles have changed so much until now we can't reuse the equipment. Commissioner Cowan knew all about that when we had the different cars, the Crown Vic, the Charger, so forth and so on. We could swap the equipment out from one to the other. Now they do not make Crown Vics anymore, so we can't take the Crown Vic equipment and put it on a Tahoe. We can't take the Crown Vic equipment and put it in a Dodge Charger. So I'm asking all of you tonight to look at the material that you have on hand. It's important that we look at this information and do something, not just for me, but do something for the citizens of Newton County and do something for those individuals who wear the badge. I can assure you, I doubt there's one vehicle that the fire department has 400,000 miles. I would doubt there's one vehicle at the county barn or anywhere else within county government with 400,000 miles. And I think it's time now that someone need to step up to the bat and look at this, as I say myself. My job is a calling. That's what my job is, it's a calling. I don't look at this as just a job, a place of employment. If I was looking at a place of employment, I'd probably be somewhere else. I had the opportunity. But this is all about doing what is right. And what is right is to remove these vehicles here, in which I've just stated, 49 of them with more than almost 300,000 miles. 9 of them with 400,000. That's just no rhyme or reason why we should be riding around in those type of vehicles. And I think it's, as I say, and Ms. Martin, who's a county attorney, I would venture to say that she would agree. That could be a liability issue if we are involved in an accident and it's proven. And I think it wouldn't have to be a whole lot of evidence there to say it's proven with a car running around 100 miles per hour with 400,000 miles on it. And I certainly hope that the board here will look deep, and we can't just sit around and just wait for the next splosh, wait for the next splosh, wait for the next splosh, think that we're going to get vehicles when you're only getting 6 at a time. And as I said earlier, it'll take 30 years to replenish the fleet. I don't know if I'm going to be here 30 years from now as sheriff, but I hope to be around somewhere. But anyway, that's something that we need to look at. And all of you may look at it as being, this is a great expense. Well, you know the reason why it's a great expense? Because we sat back and we didn't do anything about it when we had the opportunity to do something about it. And if we keep waiting, it's going to be even more. Because the fuel of 67 vehicles that we have that's less than 200,000, you know what's going to happen this time next year? Those vehicles are going to be 200 plus. So that's the position that we're in, and I certainly hope that this information here, you would take it, you would read it, you would digest it, and you would hear me and not allow this just to go in one ear and go out the other and say, oh, Sheriff, just talking. This is serious business. This is serious business, and I do not want not one of my deputies to be injured or one citizen to be injured from the lack of having the best equipment that I know that you can afford, we can afford, if we would only put, again, our money where our hearts. And I'm finished with it. You have the information. If anyone have questions, I'm open for it, but it's time now. 6 vehicles a year just ain't gonna get it. It's just not gonna get it, 6 vehicles a year. As I said, we got the 11 in 2019, and we're already at almost 100,000 miles.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question, then I'll make a comment. Don't we, don't you, I'm saying we, but don't you have some men from like DeKalb County?
Pardon me?
Don't you have some deputies from DeKalb County worker, maybe a shift here in Newton County?
Yes, I do.
And the reason why I asked that question was, you know, I had to visit the sheriff's office for some of my own personal reasons. But I saw a gentleman from DeKalb County get out of a brand new vehicle and get in the ground with that one hard crank. And I look at that, I said, man, we in bad shape. So, you know, we need to do something. And it not only, you know, it's been like that for years. The officer sheriff has seen to be, when it comes to cars, be the last person on the block to get anything. Thank you.
Commissioner Mason and then Commissioner Sanders.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mhm.
Sheriff, so I guess because I'm looking here, I don't see, I know you were saying we were doing 6 a year. So what is your proposal now, and what is that total cost? Because I don't see that here.
Well, the only thing that's available right now, Commissioner Mason, is because we waited so long, Tahoes and other vehicles, they're not out there anymore. So the only thing that you can purchase right now is a Dodge Charger, and they're running $26,800. $26,800. And if you look at the, I think if you go up here and just look at the numbers, you have 49 that's 200,000 plus. I mean, I think the least amount of vehicles that you could look at is perhaps 25 to 30 to get us going.
So
And
you're
it's
saying
it's not by my fault, it's by all of us that we have allowed ourselves to be where we are.
so if we did 25 Dodge Chargers, that'll be $670,000. So that's what you're proposing tonight.
I didn't do the math. You did.
I just did it, so I was just wondering, is that, so with 26.8 times 25 equals $670,000. So I'm wondering, is that what you're proposing for tonight for this request? Because I didn't see it in the packet. So I was just trying to figure out, because I know you said 6 vehicles wasn't enough, so I'm just trying to figure out how many are you requesting now and how much does that cost? So I'm just trying to figure that out.
Commissioner, I did not do the math. I put a summary of what we have up here.
Okay.
And I think it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, you know, I said 49. If we can get 25, I'm grateful with 25. I'm grateful with 25. I just need some movement in a positive direction to take the women and the men out of the cars that we have currently today. That's all. I've always worked with the board. Yes, I would love to get 27, 49, 9 plus, whatever that number is. I would love to get that. But I think if we can get a bare minimum of those vehicles I just said, 25, it would take us out of the danger zone.
Okay, thank you for clarity. And then if I can ask a question.
Go ahead.
So Lord, how many have we purchased this year thus far? And how many did we budget already for this
Well,
this budget season?
in the sheriff's line item budget, there was $300,000 budgeted for vehicles. There was an additional $70,000 budgeted for vehicles on the detention side. 26,000 of that was moved out, so that left 43,000. Of the 300,000, there was roughly 250, a little over 250,000, 250,000 spent, so that leaves 45 there, 43 on detention. In the capital fund, we put an additional 134,000 in. So there's 227,000 available for purchase right now. Now, we do have some additional SPLOST dollars that we will be collecting, and we can, and I just talked to Brittany about this afternoon. We're looking at an additional 200,000 there that could be allocated to the sheriff's to purchase vehicles for the sheriff. So that would give him a little over $420,000 that we could put towards, or he's got 227 now that he can purchase, and then there's another 200,000 once we finish collecting the SPLOST funds that we could allocate and identify for purchase of the sheriff's vehicles. So that's 427. What's left, so. But there was originally 434, a little over $500,000 originally this year that was budgeted for vehicles.
Okay, so with that,
Let's clarify, is that for all vehicles, or that's for the
No, sir,
sheriff?
just for the sheriff's office.
Okay.
okay,
I
so
think-
so basically with the 427,000 that he can utilize right now,
Well, we've got to collect the additional
additional
SPOS
two.
funds, but, so that's 200.
okay.
So, but there's 227,000 right now.
So with the 227, he can purchase 8 cars right now. And then with the
It-
additional 200,000, that'll take him up to 15.
I thought the sheriff, and I don't mean to dispute, but I understand, did you say, I thought you said they were 46,000 or 26,000?
26.
26.8.
Oh, okay, I'm
26,
sorry, yeah, then that would be,
Okay.
yeah, roughly, that's right, yeah.
So how long would it take, or do you know when we'll actually collect the additional 200,000? Do we have an
I'd
estimated
have
date?
to get what Brittany's
Or
talking
maybe
about.
Brittany will.
That's at the end of the collection. Would that be at the end of the collection cycle when we get the additional SPOS funds? I'm sorry, what was when do you think it might, or maybe come up?
Six to 8 months.
6 to 8 months, thank you.
Okay. And do we have any, because I know Sheriff mentioned the 6, is that allocated in this 2022 budget?
Well, we have not done the FY22 budget yet.
Okay.
But, we'll see what's in the 2022 budget. But the SPOS funds would be available when we collect them.
Okay. So we know right now he can at least get 8 with the 227
Yeah.
for sure.
What we could do, if they're not, as long as we have an invoice, we can encumber that money with this year, even if they're not delivered until, but there should be enough time to get it, if we can get them ordered, there should be enough time to get them delivered before the end of the fiscal year. But if they're not, if we have an invoice, we can't encumber them.
Okay, and then one last question, I'm sorry. I remember last year, in last year's budget, we did talk about it, that we were going to start allocating certain funds to replenish the fleet for the Sheriff's Department every single year. Was that the 6 that Sheriff was talking about?
Well,
because I don't ever remember
I
hearing
think
a
what
number.
the discussion was we wanted to make sure that there was funds budgeted inside of the sheriff's line item budget
Right.
for vehicles.
Right.
And, traditionally, fleet, there has been money inside of SPOS for fleet, which was in the 2017. But I wouldn't, we don't always want to count on that in the event that our philosophy on SPOS changes, and we don't want to fund fleet out of SPOS. We want to fund it out of the general fund. So, but the idea is let's try to budget something every year in the general budget so that there would be. Now, whether it could be put in his line item, or it also could be put into the capital improvements fund and then allocated specifically for the Sheriff's Department vehicles, because since it's over $5,000, it qualifies as a capital expenditure. And we could do it that way, which is what we did here. We had an additional 134 that we put into the capital fund. And one reason you want to do that too is if you don't spend it, that money can roll over to the next fiscal year, which is a good way to make sure that you still have the funding. So yeah, I mean, we did talk about it, and that's one of the reasons why this showed up in there, because we did have that discussion.
Okay. So there isn't a way where we can do 25 right now within our budget, but we
Not
could
within
at
our
least
budgeted funds, no, sir.
Okay, so we could at least do 8 right now with the 227, and then as the splash dollars comes in, then we can allocate those and start purchasing more as those funds come in.
That'd be roughly another 7 vehicles for those.
Yeah.
And,
Actually,
you know,
yeah.
we kind of go from there.
Yeah.
If we, you know, depending on where we are with the budget next year, once we get into doing our analysis of what the digest is going to be, and, you know, depending on how much additional LOST funds that we may be collecting, our sales tax dollars, you know, they may be able to budget more into the line item for vehicles.
For 2022?
Yeah, for
Okay.
FY '22, yeah. So,
Okay.
but right now, getting 25 that's not going to be, we're not going to be able to do that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Sanders.
Thank you, Sheriff Brown, for bringing this information. It's very insightful for me. I also feel, as a citizen, a little bit embarrassed that we even have any cars listed from 1997 in our department. I do see those various vehicles that are on the road from other counties that are very attractive. Sometimes I say, look at that sheriff car from DeKalb County. Look at, they're very attractive. And to see that we have cars from 2001, 1998, 1997, that is unacceptable. And one of the things that I did learn in my ACCG courses is that you are supposed to take care of your law enforcement. The budget for the county, 50 to 55%, is law enforcement. And that's what they stated with ACCG. All of us who went to our commissioner's training, we learned that. And so we need to definitely figure out ways where we can get this off the road, because it can be a liability. Just to give you an example, before I purchased my car, I had a Hummer before this, bought it brand new, rode it to 350,000 miles, okay? There was a lot of maintenance that I had to put in that vehicle, keeping it for 350,000 miles. So I know that we're spending excessive amount of money trying to maintain these old vehicles. So we need to do what we have to do to take care of our law enforcement, so we can also properly take care of our citizens.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I was asked the question, why can't we, unless there's a reason why can't we take the other additional, what, 200 and, what, Commissioner DeMond? The other 200,000 from our contingency, the money that we have for emergencies, and purchase those vehicles, and then as the splash money comes in, put it back into that. Because I think right now it's at 22 million, and I don't see how that would, you know, could hurt it by taking out an additional $200,000, and then we can at least get a little bit of the way, maybe part of the way, back for where the cars are, and we need to be at. And you know, there's no reason we should have automotive cars. I said that a long time ago. I still continue to say it. And I just want to echo what the Sheriff Brown has said and what I've said. Most every department got new stuff. I think a fire truck costs about $100 million. I'm not quite sure, but 500,000. So what is the 200,000 additional money go with that splash money that's going to be repaid back? We can't take that and help start bringing our vehicles up for the officer sheriff where they need to be at.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Lloyd, well, first let me say, we got a, you know, Crown Vic still on the road on patrol is outlandish to me. I agree with you. So, if somehow we figured out a way to replace 25 vehicles, I believe that's the number Commissioner Mason started with, and you just went from the bottom up, that put you the oldest vehicle at 2006. So, all right, the 300,000 that was budgeted this year, did we buy any vehicles with that?
Yes, there's been 254,000 spent. Been 254,000 spent on vehicles. Now I don't know how many that is, because I know there were I believe there were some Chargers and there were some other vehicles purchased with that, but I don't know if they were, seems to me like I remember seeing maybe Tahoe or maybe the Dodge Durango, but I just don't exactly recall. But there's 45,000 left of those dollars.
Okay. Well, I think we have to go with some type plan that this time next year, we're not having the same discussion. At least we've got a plan moving forward to swap out or change out some of these vehicles. Now we can't, I know we can't bite off the hugest of chunks right now, so there has to be a plan. If it's a half a vehicle a year, there has to be a plan, I think, going forward. So we have to incorporate it into our budget going forward, I think, more so than probably what we're doing now, if that's possible. But I'm on board with that plan, Sheriff. I agree. I've got friends that are deputies, and they tell me some tales sometimes about those vehicles. So, and public safety is in our strategic plan, and we can't. I pass the deputies every morning coming to Mansfield, and some of them are in Crown Vics, and some of them are in newer vehicles. But I'll have a new perspective tomorrow morning when I pass them, probably. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Sheriff.
I think it was 6 Dodges that we got, and the 6 Dodges that we got,
The Tahoes that was purchased, if you recall, the school purchased 1 Tahoe for us.
Okay.
The next vehicle was a Durango. 2 vehicles was a Durango. The school purchased those vehicles for us. The other Tahoe that you're speaking of, that came from funds from the jail. They were jail funds. I'm having one of those things on. Brittany, what's the name of that fund? It was the jail fund. There's a proper name for it, but that came from the jail fund. It did not come from the Board of Commissioners fund. So it was 6 cars that was purchased by the board.
So no cars was purchased with the money that was allocated in the budget?
6.
Yes. There was 6, or those 6 didn't come from the school system?
No, those 6 came from the board.
Okay.
Right.
And then you purchased 6 out of that, the money that was allocated?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I purchased 6.
And then they I got you.
No. I purchased 6 from the county.
Yeah, from the county.
Okay.
And then the school board actually, I got you.
They didn't, it was a total of 3 or 4 that the school purchased, and then we purchased 2 vehicles from the jail fund.
Yeah.
Right.
I got you.
But those 2 vehicles from the jail, they're specifically for the jail for transportation of prisoners, and that is the reason why we're able to purchase the vehicles from those jail funds. We use them to transport inmates all over Georgia, Florida, Tennessee.
Okay. So I'm thinking the access tonight is the access of this board to come up with a way that we can, I think y'all, how many you said? Now we can, okay. You cool with that, Lloyd?
I'm sorry.
You got anything you want to say about that?
About,
I think it's an act to come up with a total of 25, but now it's an
Right.
act to give
Right.
8 more cars.
okay, so right now, we've got enough to get 15, or we have 227, and then we'll have another 200 that we can use out of SPLOST, but as Brittany said, it'll be 6 to 8 months before we get that. So what you're wanting me to come up with is another $300,000 thereabouts, 250 to purchase the additional vehicles, the 8 vehicles or 9 vehicles.
Is that what the board is, that's what the board is asking? Go ahead.
So the total, if we do the Dodge Chargers at 26.8, if we do 25, that's 670 total. So
Okay.
we can at least do 8 right now. So that'll be 670,
So you,
670 minus the 227. So that'll leave us with 443. So that 443 will actually cover, we do 17 more vehicles, basically.
okay, so, but bottom line is I still need to find roughly 300 and 400 and something $1,000. Okay.
Correct.
Is
So,
there-
yes.
Not to be flip, but is there anything you guys want to discontinue to come up with the $400,000? I mean, that's a pretty steep bill to come up with right now. I mean, if we can plan it, you know, I mean, to come up with it today, that's going to be an impossibility unless we just stop doing something, to be quite honest and be quite frank. Now, if we want to do, we've got money to purchase 8 cars immediately. We'll have money to purchase another 7 cars in 6 months. We can work into the budget for next year. We can look at adding as many vehicles as we possibly can for next year, but that would be a plan of a way to do it. I mean, to be honest, we just don't have that kind of money just sitting around somewhere unless we dip into our reserve, and I do not recommend that we do that. Once you start, we'll never stop, and we need that reserve in the event of an emergency situation, and not that, and I'm not trying to downplay the need for the vehicles, but I think that I just would not recommend that we do that. So I don't see how we can I can come up with that kind of money right now. If given some time and we work on a new budget, then yes, the chances are we can get there. But even trying to budget 25 vehicles a year is adding $600,000 in cost to our budget. $500,000. That's a lot of money, guys. And you know, if we can budget the 300 like we did this year, keep that in sheriff's budget. We can cut. Then I've only got to find 300, and that'll get us to that 25.
Right.
And you know, so right now, immediately, we can get them the 8 cars, and then we can get the other 7, and then we keep that 300, and then I work on getting the other 300 to make up for the other 20. Once we get that 25, I think we can figure out a way to do that or get as close to that as possible.
So we talked about the additional 200,000 SPLOST coming in about 6 months.
Right.
Would we have to wait for 6 months, or can we just, every time we get 26.8, go ahead and buy a new one? So say if we get another 26.8 in a month, can we go ahead and get another one?
I think that we could probably do it as we collect.
Right.
Because we're exceeding our collections. I just want to be careful that we don't get too far ahead, simply because if the collections stop and we're over now, but if they, for some reason they stop or go under, we still have to make sure we make our budget. But, but I think in this particular case, we probably could.
And if that happens, then we can just delay on purchasing the vehicle until those collections start coming back in.
Right.
Right. Thank you. Guys, I'm going to go to Commissioner Henderson and then Commissioner Elena. But I didn't see your hand. I didn't see your hand, sir. But let me just, but guys, let me say this. I think Lloyd has an excellent plan. I think the sheriff needed some vehicles now. And Lloyd is saying that we have in the budget that we can do 8 vehicles now. And then he let him come back to the board if there's a possibility that we can do something else. So I think that's a great suggestion. But Commissioner Henderson.
You know, I'm still trying to understand why we can't go into the contingency for I guess $200,000, additional $200,000 for the cars, and let SPLOST in 8 months reimbursement. We have did it before.
Go ahead, Sheriff.
Lord, do you recall the method of, when we purchased those 34 vehicles, do you recall the method of how we went about doing that?
No, to be honest with you, Sheriff, I really
The
don't.
2011s.
Well, that was
we-
before,
Okay.
that was before I got here, but,
Okay.
but we could go back and take a
If you
look
can
and see
go
what we
back,
can find.
That was some method that was used in 2011, probably 2010, because it's 2011 model. And I think we purchased 34 or 35 cars then. And that's what we're operating now.
We'll go back and see what we can find in
Okay.
the finance records to see what
Okay.
they did, okay? We'll
Okay.
be glad to do that.
Commissioner Lane, you good? Commissioner Cowell?
I think we done about talked this thing to death, but since I'm probably the only one here, I know I'm the only one here besides the sheriff that has some prior law enforcement experience. Now, law enforcement people will put up with bad pay, they'll put up with bad benefits, bad working hours. But a motor vehicle and equipment is critical to morale. It really is, because I have gone and driven to calls before and have the car die on me. And in the course of the city of Covington was able to purchase cars over a period of time. You can't expect these law enforcement people to ride around in junk. And after a while, 300,000 miles, they're wore out. Because these are not like you and I drive 300,000 miles. This is hard miles. I mean, real hard miles. And Sheriff, you need, what, 25 vehicles a year to start working that out? And I think Lloyd's got a proposal there on the table, how we might can get some of these done realistically. I guess if you could work with Lloyd and maybe y'all can hammer this out and let's just figure out where we got to go over the next few years. I know vehicles are changing. The Crown Vics ain't out there anymore. I saw where Ford is actually coming out with a pickup truck for law enforcement, which I thought was finally somebody realized.
I think we have 3 or 4 of those.
Okay.
now.
This is actually one that was set up, built for law
Right.
enforcement they've got, which
they have great vehicles.
somebody finally figured it out at the automaker level, what they needed. But I think we'd have talked to Def, and if we could just work it out with what we got existing money right now, and then what we plan for in the future, and try to get this fleet taken care of. It's senseless to have this kind of stuff out there.
Thank you. Thank you for hearing it, and Chairman Baines, Lord, and to the board, what I would suggest moving forward is that we develop some type of plan, and we stick to the plan every year, that we purchase X number of vehicles every year until we delete all of these 400,000 miles, because if not, in the next, like you said, 6 months from now, those that's under the 100,000, 150,000 mark, 8 months from now, they subject to be up there. So that's where we are. And we need vehicles so we can hire personnel. So we need to keep all of that in mind.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Yep, thank you. Yep. Next is item number 16, is discussion consideration of resolution county opposing to House Bill 218.
Thank you, Chairman Baines. Commissioners, you all received an email, or you should have received an email from our Honorable Probate Judge Melanie Bell on Thursday concerning House Bill 218 that's relating to weapons carry license permitting. I'm going to read from her email and then answer any questions you have, and then I'll be happy to read the resolution as well. Judge Bell's email states, as a brief explanation, pre-COVID, you could show up anytime during the business day to obtain your weapons carry license permit. Probate courts did not issue, and I'm going to call these WCLs, so I'm You know what it is, weapons carry license. You could show up anytime during the business day to get your WCL. The probate court did not issue WCLs from March 15th through May 13th, and that was statewide. Since May 2020, the probate court, like other courts of the state, have been processing WCLs by appointment only because we do not have sufficient space to socially distance the applicants otherwise. In Newton County before COVID, we would process about 70 WCL applications per week. We now process 130 every week with appointments. This new legislation will require us to process WCLs on a first-come, first-served basis. We cannot require an appointment and could face as many as 100 applicants in a day. If we do not process all 100 of those, the legislation says that there is a cause of action to sue the judge or county for that reason alone. Unfortunately, this bill also does not have any protection for the courts, counties if there's a pandemic, natural disaster, or any other emergency. If this bill passes, Judge Bell indicates that her fiscal year 2022 budget, which she was projecting to have no significant increases and requested no additional personnel, will have to be modified, where she'll require 1 to 2 additional clerks and more physical space, which simply does not exist in the Judicial Center. You all heard our citizen comment earlier. A part of this statute is to make reciprocity the rule, much like other vital records. So we wouldn't be tied to our home county to go get the WCLs. It could happen wherever. That is roughly what her email says in summary. I will say that she's indicating that she will need $150,000 to $200,000 more in her budget if this does come to fruition, so that she can hire additional clerks, additional fingerprint machines, and be able to service that many WCL applications. So we've put together a very basic resolution in opposition on behalf of our Honorable Probate Judge Melanie Bell. That item is number 16 in your packets, and I will read that for you. Whereas House Bill 218 would expand weapons carry license reciprocity in this state, allowing those who do not live in Newton County to call upon the Newton County Probate Court to apply for a weapons carry license. Whereas this proposed legislation will also require the county's probate court to process weapons carry license applications on a first-come, first-served basis. This would abolish the court's social distancing practice requiring an appointment for applicants for a weapon carry license. Whereas this proposed legislation will cause undue pressure and financial strain on the probate court to hire new clerks, require an increase in office space to accommodate the increased number of applicants and other costs. And whereas expanding weapons carry license reciprocity in the state of Georgia will put undue financial strain on probate courts, limiting the ability of local governments to adequately budget for the increased cost. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Newton County Board of Commissioners that this governing body voices its opposition to House Bill 218, expansion of weapons carry license reciprocity. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be delivered to each member of the Georgia House of Representatives and Senate representing Newton County and made available for distribution to the public and the press.
Thank you. Guys, I seek a motion, please. Commissioner Cowan.
I make a motion to approve R031621A regarding county's opposition to House Bill 218.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Cowan and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Attorney, you said this is opposition.
Judge Bell has asked that we let our local delegation know that we are opposed to expanding the weapons carry license permitting, the reciprocity component that means that you could go wherever you wanted to go get your WCL, right, just like a birth certificate.
So it would delete anybody from here in Newton who may want to carry, they still could do that?
Yeah, oh yeah, but this is just her process that she has in place and her concern about the tax dollars being spent that way.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Judge Bell states that we've gone from 70 permit applications per week to 130 every week. At the current time, Megan, do we have to honor other county residents' requests at our probate office?
Currently, no, sir. This would open it up that we would have to accept from other counties.
Okay, so this is all, this 70 to 130 is all organic growth? Okay.
Yes, sir. That's what Judge Bell had indicated.
Okay, so that's our own county demand?
Yes, sir.
All right, so, and we're handling that now?
Yes, what she has been doing is, she's really great at her scheduling. She gets it, every X amount of minutes that a person has the appointment time. They come in, they meet with the clerk, they do fingerprinting, and off they go. Her concern is what happens when, since Newton's kind of an outlier county, if you live in Fulton or DeKalb or Gwinnett and you don't want to go stand in the really long line at the big county, you just head out down the road towards 20 to Newton. And so she's concerned that you've seen this organic growth with your Newton folks. She's concerned about what happens when the door is open to all counties to come and receive their weapons carry license permit.
So the.
Come on, guys. Come on, guys.
So the permitting process in other counties is not as efficient as we are.
I would say, just from my experience of working with lots of counties, I would say you guys have one of the most efficient, well-ran systems for that.
Because other counties are inefficient, we're going to have to increase our tax bill on our citizens here.
I believe that Judge Bell's correct, that you will see people get pushed out to here in other counties around the metro because we do have a great process in place.
Yeah. So, I'm a shooter, I'm a hunter, I shoot guns every weekend just for the heck of it, but I don't see how our legislators can push this on us and increase the taxes on our citizens because other counties simply can't handle their load or don't want to handle their load. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Cowan.
I made the motion on this mostly because I have talked to Judge Bell, and I'm in the probate court at least 3 times a week, and it is very, very busy. They don't have the space adequate to handle this type of crowd, and it's just gotten to be a busy court system down there. So no more work needs to be added to that group.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? All in favor? Thank you. It passes 5-0. Thank you much. Next, a resolution provided for installation of street lights and the assessment of the annual cost of maintenance and operating. Mr. Kerr.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Oops. Oh, this is the street light petition for Benton Woods Townhome Subdivision. It's located on Brown Bridge Road, and this is for installing the street lights in that subdivision, and it's petitioned by the developer of that particular subdivision. Just ask for the board's approval.
Thank you, sir. Guys, I seek a motion, please. Commissioner Henderson, I'm sorry. So moved, stated by the county manager. Can I get a second? It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Alcohol license, first reading. The Kroger Company doing business as Kroger Store number 6213700 Salem Road, Covington, Georgia, 316. Owner, Collier International Management, Jennifer Nicole Kohler, District 3. That's the first reading. Item number 22, the final reading, District 2. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr.
Final reading.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Lloyd, do we know if there's been any violations at all?
No, sir, there's not been that we know of.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the license for Peach Mart 2534 LLC, doing business as Bailey's Inc. at 2536 Highway 81 South, Covington, Georgia 30016. The owner is Bailey 76, Sneha Galani in District 2.
Can I get a second, please? It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 4-0. Thank you. 23, final reading again, District 2.
Lloyd, were there any violations on this one?
No, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the license for Watwania USA LLC, doing business as Salem Food Mart, 3633 Salem Road, Covington, Georgia 30016. The owner is Sahil Watwania in District 2.
Thank you. Can I get a second, please? It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 4-0. Thank you. Next, citizens' comments. This opportunity will allow citizens to come up and make comments. You're allowed 3 minutes to do so. Please state your name, your address for the record, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My
Good
name is
evening.
Dana LeBee. I live at 5581 Salem Road. I'm in District 2. I disagree with your passing the resolution to oppose House Bill 218 because you've missed the bigger picture of House Bill 218. House Bill 218 would also allow for us to say yes to any licensed WCL from out of state. It would also say yes to online applications. It would also say yes to mail-in applications. And because you've voted to pass this opposition to House Bill 218, this Board of Commissioners will send a letter of this resolution to the Georgia House of Representatives and Senate representing Newton County that Newton County has opposed this House bill. I just think that's disingenuous. I don't think that's an accurate picture of Newton County because you're probably going to have some citizens like me and other friends that would say, hey, I understand the concerns of the probate court processing all this, and I'm not discounting that at all, but to say that it abolishes certain aspects of House bill locally is not correct. I disagree. I think we're elevating the concerns of COVID over Second Amendment rights, and this is a soft step towards taking away our Second Amendment rights as we're given in our Constitution. So I appreciate the time today, and I do oppose your passing, but I'm thankful that you work hard to support and work for our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Yes, my name is Brendan Cherry. I live at 30 Glen Isle Drive, Covington, Georgia 30016. I don't know if I'm allowed to do this or not, but I'm just curious, by show of hands, how many have read H. Bill 218? Okay, 1, 2, okay. So you passed a resolution in opposition to something you haven't even read. It's kind of shocking, but I agree with who's read HB 218. Okay, so then you would understand that there is online and mailing applications that would be allotted for that, which I think probably a lot of people would take advantage of, and so you don't really know whether or not you would or wouldn't have the space. And again, it goes deeper than that. It's about lifting the difficulties that have been placed upon citizens to exercise a right that's granted to us under the Constitution. And I think that it goes, where are you going to draw the line? When when a right gets too expensive to defend, we're not going to uphold that anymore. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Hey, can I get your name, please?
Brendan Cherry.
Yeah.
Brendan Cherry.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Thomas Butler, 650 Fleeted Drive. You know, well, the sheriff's up here talking about these cars. He didn't mention the 10 that we bought him right before he elected the sheriff. He bought 10 cars then. And he kept the old 10. He didn't turn them in. He said, I want to keep them. So that is 10 more cars he's added on to, well, we got so many in my, see? I mean, he should have turned them 10 in and then sold them, put the money back wherever it's supposed to be, instead of him keeping them. Now he wants to replace them again. Is he going to keep the, whatever y'all give it, want to buy him? Yeah, I reckon that's all I got to do. You ain't going to ask him.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, couple of things that were mentioned early on tonight, Lloyd. If we've got developers in Newton County that have been banned in other counties, how do we check up on that? I mean,
Well,
is there such a thing?
I don't know that there is such a thing. I mean, provided that they're following the rules and regulations that we have, we cannot just arbitrarily ban them from.
I figured that was probably it. But
Yeah.
my request is that we have everyone with a P card policy, everyone with a P card have review the policy and sign that policy. And I'd like this board to be presented with how many P cards there are and what departments they are assigned, please.
Okay.
And the last thing is I have gotten quite a few positive comments about the trash situation and how it's getting better across the county, so we appreciate that.
Well, thank you very much. I'll pass that on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank Mr. Cherry and Mr. Labie for coming tonight. I am going to have a follow-up conversation with our probate judge. I didn't have a conversation with her prior to. I know Commissioner Cowan said that he did. There is a possibility that all the things that you all mentioned will still happen. It will just happen with Newton County citizens. And then maybe further on down the line, that could potentially change. But I'm going to have a follow-up conversation with her just to kind of see if we can address those concerns as well. So I'll follow up with you all also. Secondly, I just wanted to announce that we will be having the groundbreaking for our skate park at Denny Dobbs Park on Monday, March the 29th, 2021 at 2 p.m. We are excited about the skate park coming. We've gotten a lot of feedback stating that they're looking forward to having it. So I just wanted to invite all of those citizens all across Newton County. Doesn't necessarily have to be just District 2 citizens. All of our citizens, all of our municipalities that'll be able to take advantage of the skate park as well. We invite them out to that groundbreaking on Monday, March the 29th at 2 p.m. And I think, and I did get some positive comments about the trash as well. And we are definitely looking forward to, in District 2, for our cleanup day, which is going to be May 15th. I'm currently working on the logistics for all of that, but it will be May 15th that we're going to be having that. So once I get the logistics done, the flyer, the press release, I'll kind of be releasing that out to everybody. But we've already started receiving volunteers in District 2 that want to help and participate on that cleanup day. And I'll be out there with my sneakers and jeans and on as well, cleaning up. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Sanders.
Mine's short and sweet. I just want to invite everyone to tune in on March 24th at 6 p.m. Women History Month Fireside Chat. I was honored to be featured, or will be featured, with the commissioners, female commissioners of Henry County, Cobb County, Fulton County, the chairman of Cobb County, and many others, as well as Rockdale. We're going to be talking about politics, women in politics, and history. So that's on March 24th. You have to register. So you can go on my Commissioner Sanders page on Facebook, click the link to register to tune in on that day.
Thank you. Commissioner Henderson. Thank you. Commissioner Cowan. Nothing? No executive session? Guys, I seek a motion, we adjourn. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. All in favor? 5-0, thank you. G.